I'll need my news team at my side.
News team, assemble!
Howdy, Aggieland. Welcome to the SEC.
Our program will be built on 4 principles in which I talk about all the time: toughness, effort, discipline, and pride.
Dang it! I'm going to have to buy that boy cream cone.
Now I'm distracted on my point. What were we talking about?
It's bullcrap. All I care about is winning. Show me the dang baby.
You do it till they do it right, and then you do it till they can't do it wrong.
Go get him. Why are you dancing around? Eat him like he's a steak.
He fits what TexAgs radio is about. He fits into what the listeners are going to want. He's a pro on every level.
That's how long I've been on ya.
It's Nuno and the crew on TexAgs Radio, right here on Sports Radio 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. The Zone.
You know how long I've been on ya.
Good morning, Bryan College Station. This is not David Nuno. Our favorite radio host is out today on a little early vacation, bye-week vacation for Nuno.
Turn me down.
Are you too loud?
Man, whoever must.
Well, look, listen, man. As you get up in age, I don't know if you can hear anymore.
I'm hearing way too much, man. You're going to blow my eardrums out of here.
I did that.
Sorry
to Billy.
to interrupt you.
No, I did that to Billy on one of the in-home visits or one of the deals that we were doing for recruiting the other day. And I don't know which knob over here turns it down. And he got really, really upset. You know how Billy, he's real finicky.
Yes, he is.
Anyway, like I said, Ryan Brauninger sitting in the host chair today. Here with Olin Buchanan, the Go Hour, sponsored by Maroon U. We'll be here with you, Olin will, and myself, all the way through the 9 o'clock hour and the first segment of, I guess, in the 9:15. I guess that's how we've got it scheduled today. We'll have Jason Howell on the show in that 9 o'clock hour. At 9:30, we'll be joined by Texas A&M baseball hitting coach Michael Early as the Aggie baseball team gets ready. No football this weekend in College Station, but the Aggie baseball team will be hosting Lamar in a fall game tomorrow at 1 o'clock at Olson Field at Bluebell Park. So we'll have Coach Early on get his thoughts on how the fall has gone. The Aggie baseball team returns a ton of offensive firepower in 2023 off of that Final Four run in Omaha last year. We'll go around Aggieland at the end of the 9 o'clock hour with Kay Nagley, and in the 10 o'clock hour, usually the most fun hour of radio. You got no Billy, you got no Nuno, and you got no Slarth, Seth McKinney. Seth backed out because he's got a golf outing. So I'm sure his brother Steve, who will be here, Steve McKinney will be here, will have quite the opinion on that as well. Olin, how you doing this morning, man?
I'm doing very well.
It's Friday on the bye week.
It is Friday.
What's your weekend going to look like?
Living up. Oh, yeah, Friday night.
Oh, yeah. What's Friday?
I don't. That's just a song from my high school years. I don't know. You know, this is how sad it is. I typically don't know what my weekend plans are until my wife tells me.
Ooh.
Yeah. You can say that, go ooh all you want. I know you have a betrothed, and that's whether you
Don't you talk about my fiance
I'm
like
telling
that.
you, that's just how you're going to be.
I don't know what betrothed means.
I think it means that you're
due to be married.
Due to be married.
Okay.
Maybe it means you're already married. I don't know. But anyway, that's where your life is going to be going to. Now, I'm fortunate, and I'm sure you are too, in that my significant other, my wife, understands this job. So,
Yeah.
you know, she's not complaining that, you know, when I have to travel.
Mm-hmm.
She's not calling me every, 3 times before I get to the airport,
Mm-hmm.
right? She understands the job.
Maybe she should, to make sure that you have your cell phone.
That, you know what, that had she done it, we would have saved a lot of angst, wouldn't we? That was funny.
That Omaha trip it's still.
Hey, we left at 3:30 in the morning. I was not completely awake, but anyway, no. So I don't know what I do know. My son's in town, and which we talked about.
Has
yesterday.
he added the freshman 15? Still pretty fit.
I talked to him. He's not as fit as he was, but he's trying to get in a what do you call it? Rush in a fraternity? Is that what they call it? So he hadn't had the time to get into the gym that he normally spends. So still looks thin and good. But anyway, the point is, we'll go out to dinner with him or something like that. Then he'll ditch us to go hang out with his friends.
Yep. Well, you're going to have to hang with me this morning. I'm fighting some allergies. So if I sneeze through the show, OB may have to take
just
over.
Sneeze
that way toward Caroline Turner, who's in the social center this morning. Caroline, good morning.
She's nothing to
Good
sneeze
morning.
at.
Yeah,
what a nice line.
over here.
Hey, so you have any news for us to start the show here, Caroline?
Yes, we do. For the A&M teams, we have the Texas A&M men's tennis team heads to Baylor for the ITA Texas Regional, with match play beginning for the Aggies today at the Herd Tennis Center. And the Alvarez, who hit a monumental walk-off 3-run homer.
Jordan, who's your daddy?
Yes.
Is that how he says his name, Jordan?
Yeah.
Okay.
Jordan Alvarez, who hit a monumental walk-off 3-run homer to beat the Mariners in Game 1 of the American League Division Series, socked an opposite field 2-run homer off of Luis Castillo in the 6th inning to put the Astros ahead and send them to a 4-2 win over Seattle in Game 2.
I didn't think they were going to get a hit off of Luis Castillo. You're not a baseball guy. He's filthy. It's like 100 miles an hour sidearm. Go ahead, Caroline.
That's what I've got for today.
Oh, we had a bomb threat yesterday.
Oh
at
my
Kyle
gosh,
Field.
we did. And my teacher was like, "It's okay, we still have a test, so come to campus."
If Kyle Field blows up, then I think a lot of other parts of campus may be.
What kind of nut would do that?
Somebody that didn't study for a final. That's what it usually is, right? Or it's some deranged Twitter warrior that has never had any kind of accountability, and their picture is of their profile picture on Twitter is not of them. They've got a made up name. And so everything they do in their life, there's no accountability, and they could figure out that there's something else that I could add to that plate of insanity.
I hope they're able to find out.
I hope so, too. Track that call back. Running the show, pulling the strings in the back is Dalton Hughes. Dalton, what's up, dude?
Good morning. Happy Friday, gentlemen. Y'all doing all right?
We're doing okay.
Dalton, did you make that call yesterday?
I did not.
Okay.
I didn't want. He was saying deranged individual, and you thought of me, huh?
Yeah, I did.
Really? Because I would say you'd get a mirror.
A deranged derelict. Sports
I don't need a mirror. I can look at myself right there on the screen. Yeah.
Yeah.
That guy doesn't look deranged.
Well, we have an incredible slate of college football action for Saturday.
Incredible.
Yes. Did you not realize that it is, I think, the first weekend since 7 years, 2015, that there are 6 ranked matchups on one fall Saturday? Mm-hmm. So we're getting into October, the thick of the schedule, and with A&M being on a bye, OB, I figured you would be parking it on the couch for a while on Saturday.
Well, I know that I want to watch the Tennessee and Alabama game.
Are you surprised at that line?
I don't even know what it is.
It was Bama by 7.
Oh, yeah, I would take Bama.
To cover?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming it's because of a healthy Bryce Young, because if Jalen Milroe is the quarterback, then they're not going to be favored.
I would take Alabama with Jalen Milroe.
You're crazy.
Okay.
Does it have to do with, like, they've beaten Tennessee, 17 straight years?
15. No, it's because, first of all, I think Jalen Milroe's better than you. Yeah, what?
They're not going to beat.
You know what?
I like Jalen Milroe. They're a 2 to 3 loss team with Jalen Milroe.
Let's have a bet.
You think they beat Texas with Jalen Milroe?
I don't know. But let's have a bet. Let's have a bet that if Milroe starts and finishes the game, you got Tennessee and I got Alabama.
Okay.
If Jalen Milroe starts, they bring in. I'm not going to hold that against you. They bring in Young. No, I'm just saying if he starts and finishes, I'll take Alabama. Head up.
Steak dinner bet.
Yeah.
Steak dinner.
Steak dinner.
I'll shake on that right here.
Let's do it. Okay.
You're crazy. That's the easiest steak dinner I've ever got.
All right.
No mashed potatoes. I'm still in my no carb thing. You really think?
Yes.
With Jalen Milroe.
Yes.
In Neyland Stadium.
Yes.
On the effing hill, as they say.
Yes. I've never heard it called the Hill.
Neyland Stadium on the hill.
I've never heard it. I know it's on the banks of the Tennessee River.
Right.
I've been there so many times.
Well,
wish that
I don't see how they win the game without Bryce Young, and that's why I thought the line was at 7.
I think that
how are they going to score? I know Tennessee's not great on defense, but I think Tennessee's riding a high.
You don't understand that Florida put 33 points on
Tennessee, and it was in a scramble. But you understand that Bama nearly lost at home to A&M and turned the ball over 4 times with Jalen Milroe.
Yeah, were those turnovers gifts, or did A&M make good plays?
But you're going to sit there and say that Tennessee can't force them in an away atmosphere?
I don't think Tennessee has the defense that Texas A&M does.
We'll agree to disagree on that one. I think if Bryce Young's quarterback, and I'm picking Bama,
I
if
get
he
it.
ain't, I'm picking.
That's been
Hendon
established.
Hooker might be your Heisman Trophy winner.
I think if Tennessee wins, Hendon Hooker will be your Heisman Trophy winner. I think Hendon Hooker should be your Heisman front runner right now.
Well, look, I've got the entire slate of games here. We'll go through each of them and talk about them. But I've got a bunch of questions for you that I think are good bye-week questions with this A&M football team, and they're really going to make you think. Okay. So I'm going to ask you, and this is where I want interaction on the show. Amarillo National Bank text line.
Where are we going to do the steak dinner, by the way?
We don't have to go to dinner together. I'm going to go to dinner, and I'm going to get a good steak, with some green beans.
Where are you going to go to get this steak?
It might be a fancy place. It might not be a fancy place. We can cap it at $30 if you want to.
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't take it.
Well, you're the one that's going to lose the bet. You might as well put a cap on it.
No, I'm not worried about it.
Okay. But what we'll do is I'll just take the picture of the bill, and then you can pay for it. Venmo me. If you want to interact with the show, 979-693-1150, 979-693-1150 on the Amarillo National Bank text line. And here's some of the questions that I have, OB. And if you want to, and I guess I should go ahead and do this right now as well. Probably should go ahead and pull up the A&M football stats page if you're able to.
What do you mean if I'm able to?
I don't know.
I'll probably get them at a different place than you, but.
What do you have, some kind of special? No,
I'll go to cfbstats.com and go to teams and I'll click on Texas A&M. And which I'm doing right now.
Okay.
And then what stat do you want to refer to first?
Well, here's what I'm going to do. And again, I want the listeners to interact. And look, we're up to a break. So when we come back, we're going to look at what has happened through the first 6 games. And then I'm going to ask you, based on what has happened and what you know about the football team across the street, to make some predictions on the back half of the year.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Yes.
When we come back, that and more on TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Texas A&M Health Science Center students invite the community to the Big Health Event, a free health fair on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Sue Haswell Park. Health screenings, education, medication reviews, and more. Wiener Spiel is October 15th and 16th at Wolfpen Creek Amphitheater, Wiener Dog and wannabe Wiener Dog races, and more. Visit wienerspiel.org for more information. Our Savior's Lutheran Church invites you to their annual Fall Festival on Sunday, October 16th from 4 to 7 p.m. Proceeds benefit Twin City Mission and the Boy Scouts of America. The BCS Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for Bryan candidates is Monday, October 17th from 6 to 8 at the Brazos Center. Listen to the forum on 1620-94.5 or online at radioaggieland.com. Win your Texas Renaissance Festival tickets every Monday on the Louis Bellina Show and every Wednesday at zone1150.com thanks to Bud Light. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
I'm talking Heritage Films. They're going to do a documentary story on all the negative people and how one night it all changed, right? Could you imagine a world where your football team is not winning and all of a sudden they beat the number 1 team in the country? Chance will tell that story if it happens. If you're having a party, invite him over. He'll do a documentary about your family's life on how you watch Aggie football. I think that'd be kind of cool. Could you imagine had Chance been at your party setting for the Alabama game last year if you weren't at Kyle Field? Imagine telling that story and the interviews during and after. That's what Chance does. He tells family stories, the good times, the hard times, the amazing times. Chance McClain does it with Heritage Films. He is a very creative guy. He's done Broadway musicals. He's been nominated for awards. He's got red carpet shows he's been to, started a radio station. He's a good old boy, down to earth, but loves Texas A&M and loves telling our stories out there. And he does it at a high level. He did it for my pops in about a 2-hour documentary that he put together. Such a rewarding experience for our family. YourHeritageFilm.com is the website, YourHeritageFilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. Time to talk Factory Builder Store, celebrating that new location in College Station, located at 11907 Welborn Road, right next to the Ashley Furniture Outlet. They can service builders and the general public with locations throughout Texas, including right here in College Station. And at Factory Builder Stores, you're dealing with local people who do things the right way. So whether you're building a home or upgrading your appliances or outdoor living at your existing home, let Factory Builder Stores take care of you. Factory Builder Stores, College Station Showroom, open now Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Old Welborn Road, factorybuilderstores.com.
After each and every Aggie home game, let's talk about it. Join me, Louie, and Dusty for the Zone Call-In Show. It's brought to you by TexAgs. 30 minutes after every A&M home game, We take your calls for about 2 hours. Game day all Saturday long on the Zone is brought to you by Brazos Valley Floor and Design, Gage Gandy Bail Bonds, Malik Heating and Air, T-Mobile, and Big Shots Golf, Aggieland.
Welcome back to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're inside the Rollo Insurance Studios where Olin Buchanan just did his he dropped back and he was under pressure. And
how some quarterbacks take too long to deliver the ball or make a decision.
Mm-hmm. Not decisive. You are decisive.
I've been decisive.
In your life?
There have been times I have not been decisive.
So before that last break, we talked about bye week kind of review on what has happened and what may happen going forward.
Okay.
So got some questions for you, OB.
I'll do my best to give you honest answers as I see them.
Who, at the end of the season, will be Texas A&M's leading passer?
That's a hell of a question.
Good radio host, right?
Yeah, that's a hell of a question because
right now
it's Haynes.
Haynes at 763 yards, Max 517 yards. Haynes has thrown 5 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. He was sacked 5 times. Max sacked 10 times, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
I'm gonna say Connor Wigman.
There it is. I didn't know because look, Billy has been adamant that saying that Connor is going to play,
and if he
I
plays,
think he has to play.
He may. I think the other guys might get Wally pipped.
They could. Now, listen, I've known Connor a long time. Everybody that's familiar with the recruiting process knows how long I've known Connor Wigman. I've always been under the impression this year that if he gets on the field, they were going to have a hard time getting him off.
Well, one quarterback is hurt, and we don't know when he's coming back. Another one is hurt. Well, we've heard he might be hurt, and we don't know his status, but he's been hurt before. So the next guy, here's what I think is going to be actually.
What we do know is because those guys have been injured, Connor has gotten the majority of the first-team reps this week at practice.
And I think his receivers are starting to get better, even though, let's be honest, Moose did have a big drop. But he also had some good catches. So I just think one of the things I think will benefit him is that put a freshman quarterback up there. I think you're going to be forced to simplify your offense, and I think that'll actually benefit A&M.
You think taking some of that stuff out will help the offense go?
Yes.
Be more
Plus, I believe the defenses that A&M are going to face overall.
It's a much more manageable back half of the schedule. I don't think there's anybody arguing that.
Like LSU is 7th in the SEC in pass defense. Auburn is 8th. Ole Miss is 9. Florida is 11. We're not
got a chance to make some hay. What you're saying?
Yeah,
on
I
the
think
back
so.
half. Okay, so Connor Wigman, your pick for team leader in passing yards. Who on the A&M roster will be?
If Lucci just heard me say that, he's like, what is he thinking? He's crazy. And what I'm thinking is that Connor's going to get a chance and he's going to play well, and why not roll with him?
He's the guy in the last half of the year.
Yeah.
Who will be A&M's second leading rusher?
Connor Wigman.
Really? Right now it's Haynes.
Yeah.
76 yards.
So if I think that Wigman is going to play more, then that's really not going out on a limb, is it?
Well, I think the other argument or the other angle you look at that from is, are they going to incorporate a second running back more?
Well, they probably should, except that I think the second half is going to be more successful, but I still don't think we're going to see this offensive explosion. Therefore, if the games are close,
you got to have
how crazy would I be to take Devon Achane off the field?
Yeah, Devon Achane, 97 attempts, 528 yards for a 5.4 average, 3 touchdowns. The next running back on this list comes in at number 4, L.J. Johnson Jr., 9 attempts, 39 yards.
Yeah.
So in order for one of those, but it's not, Haynes is second on the team in rushing yards at 76.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not going to take much for one of those running backs to overcome him, or for Connor, if he's the guy, to have a couple of games where he runs for 50 or 60
I
yards.
just don't see that the running backs getting a significant more carries unless A&M does have this offensive explosion, because I've got to have Devon Achane out there.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And I know y'all have harped on it all week, and I don't think we need to relive everything that happened in Tuscaloosa. But my one gripe with the final play has been all week. 6 has got to be involved somehow, whether he's in motion. I just thought you got to involve your best player in the most critical play in a game and a chance to upset number 1 on the road. And you were 24-point underdogs, and he's been your best guy all year. I just thought you had to utilize him in some way. But I'm not I'm a baseball guy. Much more adept at analyzing what goes on a baseball field. Who will be Texas A&M's leading tackler?
Antonio Johnson.
Now, do you have the tackling stats pulled up?
I don't, but I can. Well, maybe it'll be if not Antonio, maybe it'll be
Antonio's first in total tackles, 48. But I'll tell you who's rapidly climbing that list is Chris Russell.
Yeah, I know.
And linebacker play hasn't been great for A&M all year, but he has been playing better and better each week.
I'll give him that, but he's made some plays. But when you're talking about linebacker play, you might be that linebacker that you might get a tackle, but if you're making that tackle 8 yards downfield,
yeah.
So what?
Well, and do you like the fact that Antonio Johnson is leading your team in tackles from the secondary position?
Except that he
plays plays around the line of scrimmage.
I don't have a problem with Antonio. I think it's still going to be Antonio's going to be your leader.
Who has been the team MVPs on offense and defense?
Devon Achane.
Right.
And on defense, the team MVP on defense.
It's tough.
I would say, I think it's Damani Richardson.
I do too. And it's the play, I think the play against Arkansas at AT&T Stadium is the reason for that. Because outside of that.
He makes a lot of tackles too.
He does. He's got 37 on the year. But outside of that, nobody has really taken a hold of that title yet. I think that one play gives Damani the defensive MVP through the first half of the season. Because you can make an argument based on the numbers for a lot of other guys, but he's got the biggest play. This might be the biggest play on the year so far for A&M.
Oh, I think without a doubt. Without a doubt, it's the biggest play for A&M so far.
It's Chris Russell who forced it, and then Tyreek Chappelle hands it off, and then Damani gets all the love and credit for the heads he played to take it and run it for a touchdown. But like we talked about Chris Russell before, he's the guy that made the play for us to fumble.
He did.
And really, Arkansas ain't been the same since.
Well, KJ Jefferson's been laid up since as well.
He played against who'd they lose to after A&M?
Alabama.
He played against them and got hurt then, right? That was it. But listen, I mean, everybody's playing with injuries. I think Arkansas as a team, they're in trouble this week too.
I'll take Arkansas. You want to bet a steak dinner on that one too?
No. But if KJ's playing back to full health, I think they'll win. Yeah. But I didn't think they had much of a chance to move the ball. It was weird how they did the quarterback thing in Starkville, right?
Yeah, did you see who they started?
Cade Fortin.
Who
was committed to A&M at one point, yeah.
Sometimes you get a break by who you don't get.
Right, but then Malik Hornsby came in and was like making plays. Like with Malik, it's always been erratic, but it's fun to watch. You never know what's going to happen.
And I didn't watch that game, so probably they did this. What you don't ask one guy to do something that the other guy does just because that's your offense. You say, okay, this guy isn't going to throw very well, so let's throw only high percentage passes and let him run. What will be the most used offensive line combination for the remainder of the year, barring injuries? Okay. If everybody's healthy. Okay. I know what I want is Zune and Dewberry. Because the other three are the same. Yeah, Zune, Dewberry, Foster, Robinson, Fothery. Yeah. I think that's what I want to see. Cam certainly made a great account of himself in Tuscaloosa. And that's a spot that's kind of been a rotating door. Kind of. Between Aggie and Moko, and you really were looking for answers there. And I think
when Zune's been getting better and has played fine. So I think getting Zune healthy again, and then if Dewberry can anchor down that left guard spot, maybe with the defenses that you mentioned earlier, maybe you are in a much better position to score points on the back half of the schedule. I was really impressed with Cam. For him to come in that spot, it's the first time we've seen him all year. I thought he was really good.
Yeah, he wasn't dominant. We didn't expect him to be dominant, but I thought he came in there and played well.
Yep. Get in front of the guy he's supposed to get in front of.
Yeah.
All right. I think second leading rusher, we went leading receiver. A&M's leading receiver.
Evan Stewart.
He's currently at the top now. And I don't think that there's anybody on the roster now. You know, there are guys that certainly could get hot and close that gap. I think Chris Marshall could have a big game.
Sure.
But Moose is right there as well. Moose has got 199 yards, 13 catches. Chris Marshall, 108 yards. But Evan Stewart, 26 receptions, 303 yards with a long of 43 and 1 touchdown. I think if the offense will get in some kind of rhythm with whoever's playing quarterback against those past defenses that you mentioned, and it all starts up front, if that combination that you said is, or whoever it is in that left guard, is going to give whoever's playing quarterback more time against that schedule, against those defenses, I think these receiving numbers at the end of the year obviously look much better. And I also think that Evan could get close to the double-digit touchdown range.
I think you got to just start throwing more to him and do whatever you can to try to set up some one-on-ones and just throw it up there for 50-50 chance and feel like you got a better shot. The 50-50 ball probably turns into a 70-30 ball with Evan Stewart out there.
Right now, Anaya Smith is still second on the team in yards with 291, almost 100 ahead of Moose Muhammad. Obviously, he'll get caught, or he should get caught by somebody the remainder of the year. Donovan Green coming on, man.
He is. 2
or 3 every game. And we've seen in this offense, when it's going right, the kind of impact the tight end can have. And I don't know off the top of my head. I would imagine Jalen Watermeyer had, 2 or 3 100-yard games or close, maybe 75-plus yard games in his career at A&M. So there's still certainly an outside shot that Donovan Green, maybe he can't catch Evan Stewart, but he could get himself up there in the top 2 or 3 receivers on this team, I think, and especially as he matures in the offense.
Young quarterbacks frequently like to throw the tight end.
Yep. All right, when we come back, we will get into the Saturday slate of games here upcoming. We'll get OB's opinion. I didn't watch your Gambling with the Geezers segment with Hop, so I don't know.
It wasn't Gambling with the Geezers. We are the Geezers.
That's what I'm saying.
I preferred to call it Gambling Graybeards.
Oh, it's called Gambling Geezers, isn't it?
I know. It's Dalton, he can't just be classy about it.
Okay. When we come back, we'll get into the Saturday slate of games with OB. I'm Ryan Brauninger, sitting in the host chair. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
It's the one show in the world that talks Aggie football, Star Wars, and progressive overload at the gym. It's TexAgs Radio with Dave, Olin, and Billy here on the Zone.
Right now we're talking Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. Those are my friends over there, Zach Hester and his crew, a great crew. They are a proud supporter and sponsor of A&M Athletics. No matter what happens this weekend in Tuscaloosa, they support Aggie athletics, soccer, football, basketball, you name it. They love it all there. Zach Hester and his crew are known to take care of their customers during every aspect of their buying experience. They don't just sell cars, they buy cars as well, and they're giving top dollars for all those cars and trucks out there. Make sure you give them a shout when you are ready to start purchasing a new vehicle. And also check out the website, because that's where they put all their deals initially. CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com is the website. Remember, it's not a far drive. They're taking care of the Brazos Valley, wherever you're at. 15 minutes, Brauninger, Caldwell, short conversation away. But you will see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with Zach and the fellows there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, and online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
Food, fun, and family, celebrate what's great.
October 21st through 23rd, there's fun for all ages with a carnival, rodeo, shopping, and awesome concerts, including a Friday performance by Aaron Watson and Saturday's headliner, Mark Chestnut. Exciting rodeo action and carnival, plus awesome concerts and so much more. Only at the Brazos Valley Fair, October 21st through 23rd. BrazosValleyFair.com.
Food, fun, and family, celebrate what's great.
Question. Would you pick a chain barbecue place over a hometown joint? Do you root for East Coast universities instead of the local team? Nah, then why choose a big Wall Street bank? A&B started in 1892. 5 generations later, we're still owned and operated by the same Texas family. We support this community. We value your privacy. We make quick decisions, and we hate red tape. We answer to you, not Wall Street. Bank with A&B. Family owned, Texas proud. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Max Kellerman.
Right now, the Vikings are the best team. They're clearly the best team in the NFC North at this moment, right?
Moment.
Okay. Lions just got shut out. So as good as their offenses looked at times, we're not going to put them with the Vikings right now. And the Packers just lost to the Giants. They have a game with the Jets. Don't let them lose that game. But even if they win, we're going to say Vikings are the best team, I think, clearly in the NFC North right now. However, when I look at what is on the Packers, and because a lot of this is you're trying to, it's calculus. Calculus is like figuring out the rate of change, right? So you see what's there, how much experience they have, how much talent they have, who they're with, who's the coaching staff, who's the quarterback, and you make a projection about where they're going to be at the end of the season. By the end of this regular season, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I like them in the NFC North better than the Vikings.
Listen in to Key, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor from 5 to 8 on the Zone.
Got a big slate of games to get into, but I think some of the off-air conversation I think does get to come on air sometimes. And I think right there we were talking about, we have a difference of opinion, I think, in writer and analyst in the way that you write about your sport, right? And I was talking to you about a baseball column that I'd written, and one of the responses that I got was a guy wanting a glossary to help him understand some of the baseball terminology. And I mean, I could certainly do that, but I think through an analytical lens, if I'm the baseball analyst, I want to be able to use my baseball analyst words.
And first, I would not say have a glossary. Certain words are just part of the terminology.
Yeah.
And if you don't get it, you need to figure out what it is. However, I would say you can be an analyst, whatever. You're still writing for an audience, and what you're supposed to write it where, for the most part, like I said, if you say sinker ball and if somebody doesn't know what that is, that's on them to find out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but I would not write heavy on with terminology and lingo, because you're asking your audience. You want to shrink your audience, and the people that are reading it say, I only want 30% maybe of the audience to read this and understand what's going on.
Yeah, I think I think there is I take that into account, and there's a fine line that I need to be able to draw to say, okay, I don't want to dumb it down so much where I'll lose the analyst. It feels like I'm just writing about the sport. You know?
All right, like Rob Childress used to always say, crooked numbers, got to get crooked numbers. So everybody would say crooked numbers. And I'd say, why not say we need to score multiple runs this inning?
Yeah, crooked number is a baseball term. Hey, we need a crooked number here.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. All right. Well, let's get into anyway. A little sidetrack, but let's get back into these slate of games for Saturday. Olin, I do not know. How are you doing in the picks on the site?
Which one? You mean
with Nuno and
I don't know. I think I'm like one game under 500 and ranking like 4th or something like that.
You know, Seth McKinney, the Walrus. And he's real proud of this too, by the way. We'll have to get in that with Steve. He's real proud to be on top of the standings.
Well, he probably should be because he takes so much abuse on Friday, and then he has that to come back. And
he's such a nice guy.
He is. He's such a nice guy.
And that's why he takes it from Steve and Billy, because he's nicer than the.
You know, I covered Seth when he was in high school
at Westlake.
At Westlake, yeah.
I'll see the Westlake Chaparrals tonight. I got a busy day. As soon as I get done here. Got some appointments to make it too that I'm headed out to Dripping Springs.
Get that lineman from Westlake over here. Sooner the better.
Well, that's the plan. That's the plan. And
see if you can't get that quarterback from Dripping Springs.
That's not my. Have you been to Dripping Springs before? Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to stop at Salt Lick.
In fact, I was covering a basketball game out there, and old Coach Poe Shelton said, "Hey, why don't you stop at my house? We have a party after every game." And
You
so
went
I
to a
did.
post-game party?
I sure did. Had a lot of fun.
Penn State at Michigan, 11 a.m. on Fox, Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. I believe the Wolverines are favored by – I don't have the line here. Do you have the lines?
No, but probably about 5, I would say.
I think Michigan didn't play nobody. And they didn't look great in the first half against Maryland. They pulled away.
Who's Penn State play?
I have to go look.
Auburn?
Auburn, no good. Purdue, Ohio, Auburn, Central Michigan, and Northwestern. They ain't played nobody either. So I think for two teams ranked in the top 10, these are pretty big question marks on both of them. I guess the biggest question mark or the biggest question to be asked is, can they compete with Ohio State in the Big Ten? We'll get a good idea about one of them at least maybe on Saturday. Let me see if I can talk about this game while I find these lines. I thought I had it pulled up.
I got to admit, I don't know a whole lot about either one of them. I would assume Michigan's going to win at home. And something just watching highlights, they just strike me as being a better team. But I'm not going to act like an expert on these two teams because I haven't sat down and watched an entire game. I watched most of the Penn State-Auburn game.
Michigan -7.
Okay, so they're going to – yeah, so I'm probably taking Michigan.
To cover.
Yeah.
It's a big number. I mean,
you win by a touchdown, it's –
yeah. Penn State has been – I feel like this is their best chance under James Franklin to really make a push at this playoff thing. This is the best team he's had, top to bottom. But I still don't know that they're very good.
I know I'm not impressed with Sean Clifford, their quarterback.
Yeah.
He's okay, but boy, he sure seems to make a lot of mistakes too.
Okay, moving on. Alabama, Tennessee, we talked about already. How about this one? Number 15 at number 18, NC State at Syracuse in the Dome.
Yeah, I'm going to go with NC State on that one. I think they have a play.
Devin Leary's out.
Okay. I think they play pretty good defense, and quite frankly, Syracuse, you talk about ranked teams who hadn't played anybody. Who has Syracuse played?
Well,
Louisville? Is that their best team they played?
They beat Louisville in week 1, UConn, Purdue, Virginia, and last week they beat up on Wagner. Undefeated, though, and Dino Babers is –
I like Dino. I've always liked Dino. But I just don't – I don't believe in him. I'm going to take NC State. I think NC State's
give me the orange at the Dome.
Okay.
I think they play much better. There are certain teams in college football, and I think last night we saw one of them. West Virginia at home, way different than West Virginia on the road.
Well, it's like those Red Raiders of
another team.
Yeah.
Utah, and this we're getting to the next game. Utah hosting USC. Mm-hmm. Utah at home, way different than Utah on the road. I think the Utes get it done. I think Lincoln Riley's first loss is in Salt Lake.
Well, I would welcome that, but I would take USC because
why?
Because I think it's one of those games where USC, every player understands how big it is for them. USC has playoff aspirations, right? Well, that means you're trying to get that 4th spot because Ohio State's probably going to get one. Alabama and Georgia are probably going to get one. And it looks like Clemson. Clemson has 2 wins right now. They have 2 wins in their back pocket over teams that are currently ranked in the top 15. You know how many ranked teams USC has beaten?
0.
Donut, you're right. So you're going to have to start getting some big wins. And frankly, I don't know how big Utah is anymore, but you're going to have to start getting some impressive wins, at least something that looks impressive, if you're going to have any shot. And I'm sure that's one of the things that they're being fed and are digesting all week. So
they will have had to mature a lot, and maybe they have. It's college age kids. You never know how they're going to respond and grow throughout the season. USC being they looked awful in Corvallis against Oregon State, where they had half the stadium closed because they're doing renovations. I think this is going to be a really tough environment. I think Caleb Williams has a chance to, he could vault himself into the Heisman discussion with a big night, but I think the atmosphere, I think Utah plays too well at home. I like Kyle Whittingham. I think Cam Rising is due. He hasn't played up to his potential, so I think he's due for a big one. I think Utah wins.
I hope you're right, but you're basing it on a lot of your argument on saying the guy who hadn't been playing up to his potential is going to, instead of saying, well, how can I take Utah when the guy supposed to be their star hadn't been playing well.
Well, it's not like Caleb Williams played well on the road either.
True.
So,
Look, I hope you're right, but I think I would because I don't like Lincoln Riley. I would like Lincoln Riley's brisket more than I like Lincoln Riley.
Yikes.
And but I think they're going to win.
Mississippi State at Kentucky. Will Levis is back for the Wildcats. Mississippi State might be the most underrated team in the country.
I think Mississippi State is a rising team, and they, quite frankly, they had the bad fourth quarter against LSU, but other than that, they played really good football. They're very experienced. They've got a good quarterback too, and a better defense than people realize.
Well, I would pick Mississippi State here, but Will Levis coming back changes the narrative for Kentucky. They were awful against South Carolina.
Did you see they fumbled on the first play of the game and South Carolina?
And there wasn't there a sequence toward the end of the half where Kentucky may have been going in to score and turn it over, and that's kind of where the game really flipped. Listen, South Carolina got the benefit of a freshman quarterback in his first start. They may be, who knows what's going to happen with A&M. They may be getting that benefit here in a couple or next week. But I think with Will Levis, they're way more of the team that should have beaten Ole Miss on the road. But I'm picking Mississippi State.
Yeah, I think we agree on Mississippi State. I think my opinion on Kentucky is that they're overrated, even with Will Levis. And I think Mississippi State is a good football team.
The last one that I have on the docket ranked teams, TCU, Oklahoma State. Is that in Stillwater?
I believe it's in Fort Worth.
Is it in Fort Worth? Yes, because they go Texas goes to Stillwater next week. TCU, Oklahoma, I believe Oklahoma State is the favorite in this game by less than a touchdown.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a close game, but I'm going to go with the Cowboys.
So my only thing with Oklahoma State is everybody says they play good defense, and they haven't played great defense. Texas Tech started a freshman quarterback last week, Baron Morton, out of Eastland. You know where Eastland is?
Eastland's out in West Texas, which is always kind of funny. Eastland's in West Texas. Had a really good quarterback back in the 80s named Jay Hess.
Well, Baron Morton looks like he could be a really good quarterback from Eastland as well. He had a well of a game in Stillwater against Oklahoma State, and I still don't know that I trust Spencer Sanders. He's been there a long time, and I feel like he's been – you always kind of want something more than what he's given them, but they win a ton of games. I'm a big Mike Gundy fan. I would like Sonny Dykes.
Yeah. I mean –
I think this is a really good game.
It is. I wouldn't put any money on it.
I'd put money on the over.
Okay.
Give me the over.
I don't even know what it is.
Give me the over.
There's going to be some points scored.
Yeah, and Max Duggan's been fantastic.
He has been.
Garrett Riley, the offensive coordinator at TCU, Lincoln Riley's younger brother, is making a name for himself.
If TCU wins that game, and they'll win it, if they win it, Max Duggan's going to have a big game. Max Duggan probably starts getting some Heisman hype.
They've got a really solid slate, like core of receivers.
Yeah, they're fast.
Yeah, and they're big, and they make contested catches, and they're guys that they're old. And what we're seeing, not just in football, but across college sports, right now, there is huge value in being old as a team. Mississippi State, they're old. So I think that TCU is a veteran team with a little bit of life and juice under a new coaching staff and some belief in their offensive system.
So you're taking
I'm taking
the Frogs.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll take the Frogs. And then I like Oklahoma State to beat Texas next week in Stillwater.
Yeah, I could see all that happening. I kind of like the Froggies, too. I'd like to see it, but I'd have to go with Oklahoma State.
When we come back, your text messages and a lot more. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Blinn Bryan Theater Troupe opens its season with the Baltimore Waltz. Performances run October 13th through the 16th. Tickets are online at blinn.edu/box office. The Brazos Civic Orchestra presents a free concert on Sunday, October 16th at 5 p.m. at Rutter High School Auditorium. BCS Habitat for Humanity is hosting its 6th annual Candidates Build, bringing together candidates for local, state, and federal office to work on a habitat home. If you're running for office, come out on Friday, October 21st. Contact Habitat BCS for more information. Applications are now open for this year's Salvation Army Angel Tree Christmas Assistance Program, which is open to families with children 12 and under. Apply online at saangeltree.org. You can listen to Jimbo Fisher live from Aggie Football Media Day every Monday at 2 p.m. thanks to T-Mobile, the official 5G provider of the SEC. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on The Zone.
All right, right now we're talking about fall being here in Milliken Reserve. That means it's time for some pumpkin chunkin' and other fall festivities. They're at Pumpkin Palooza, which is back October for its 10th year in the Brazos Valley. And they're taking place across one weekend, Saturday, October 15th and 16th. The activities throughout the weekend will include a Pumpkin Palooza trail run Saturday morning, the Fall Harvest and Pumpkin Palooza Festival during the day Saturday and Sunday, and the Milliken Music Festival Saturday evening. You can purchase tickets to all the events at pumpkinpaloozabcs.com. Remember, that festival is October 15th and 16th, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It'll be fun. The Music Festival, October 15th at 6 o'clock. Join them for a concert featuring the headliner Bryce and the Lonesome Strings and performances by Morgan Ashley and Ethan Hansen. It'll be a fun evening of food, drinks, and fantastic music. General admission and VIP tickets are on sale. VIP tickets include dinner, drink tickets, and prime seating. Pumpkin Palooza Trail Run is going to be on the 15th at 7 a.m. Go check it out, pumpkinpaloozabcs.com.
What to do with no Aggie football this weekend? Big Shots Golf Aggieland to the rescue. They're saving your weekend with big savings and big fun. Get $10 off your tee box now through Sunday only with promo code SAVE10. Tee it up with your crew this weekend at Big Shots and be ready for a great time. Get $10 off your tee box now through Sunday only at BigShotsGolf.com. Use promo code SAVE10. That's SAVE10.
Do you love Aggie football? The Louis Bellina Show, presented by B&B Automotive and Superior Auto Service, two remarkable businesses, one great family. We love Aggie football, too. Every Monday at 2, it's Aggie Football Media Day, Jimbo Fisher live, thanks to T-Mobile. And every Wednesday, we listen into the players. Also, thank you, T-Mobile, the official 5G provider of the SEC. Check in with the Louis Bellina Show weekdays, 11 to 2.
King George bringing you back to end the 8 o'clock hour. I'm Ryan Brauninger. Go Hour with Olin Buchanan, sponsored by Maroon U. Let's go over to Caroline Turner in the Social Center and check in on the Amarillo National Bank text line. Caroline.
Okay, well, you're getting some praise. They love the questions, Bronny.
Oh, good deal.
You're doing good, taking over David's spot this morning. And
he might get Wally pipped. You ain't coming back, Nuno.
Well, something about that seat requires somebody that spends all his time in the gym, I guess.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Lysol. Go ahead, Caroline.
Okay, so we have from Walker in Houston. To your point about A-Chain, Bronny, pretty sure he didn't have a run against Bama for less than 3 yards. No way a linebacker or safety beats him to the pylon on a quick pitch play to the wide side of the field.
Again, I'm not an offensive football mind. You better off asking Stephen McGee or Steve McKinney or anybody that comes through here, Ryan Swope, that's on the show. But I just thought he's your best player in the biggest spot. He should have an influence.
I would like to see A&M go way back to the 60s and just bring back. Wait a minute. No. Just bring back the old-fashioned halfback option pass.
Oh.
You see how the defense just converges whenever the ball goes to A-Chain? What if he was to stop and just throw it over him one time?
Yeah. Another thing, I guess, one of the questions I was going to ask you that I had on my list that I didn't get to, will Devon A-Chain get to 1,000 yards?
Yes.
I still think he's due for a 200-yard game somewhere.
Yes, I agree. It may be this next week.
Okay. Caroline, any more?
Yeah, we have a question on the YouTube chat, and it asks if anyone knows if there's a way to watch the baseball game on Saturday besides being there.
They're not going to televise a fall game. It's not really a game. It's a glorified scrimmage. Like, they're going to play it like a game if the pitchers don't walk a bunch of guys. You know, if one team scores 3 or 4 runs in an inning, they'll probably flip it and roll the inning. It's a way to get work in against somebody that looks – or somebody that's in a different colored jersey. So they won't televise it. We'll be there. I'll be there for the entirety of the time. We'll have some breakdown and some thoughts afterward. So get on TexAgs. We may be even doing some video content with a potential new baseball special contributor. We got to see if we can get that worked out. But Still don't want to break that news until we get it all finalized. So no TV for the baseball game tomorrow, but get to Olson, get to Bluebell Park. It'll be a beautiful Saturday. No A&M football to stress you out. You can sit there and watch Slosh and the boys in their first action as a new team, the 2022-2023 team. Any more, Caroline?
Yes, we have from Dale and Tabor. He says, bomb threat. For 2 years, we had bomb threats every time Johnny had the ball. Missy Johnny football.
And you missed the Olin. You ought to be jealous of that man.
No, I just don't want to.
Missed the opportunity to make that joke.
Well, there might have been some people in this room that got bombed yesterday.
What do you mean?
Just saying, there might have been somebody.
You're being oddly
coy.
Vague. Yeah, coy.
Well, getting bombed is a reference to maybe imbibing too much.
Okay. I was driving last night, so I guess it was you.
No, it wasn't me.
Oh.
You know what a teetotaler I am.
Okay, yeah, well.
Maybe maybe I should say in this building, to this room.
Yeah, you can be too specific.
Yeah.
It could be Dalton.
In fact, I just about bet it would be.
Probably Dalton. Hey, did you see this? Looks like what we call a rat line in sports betting. Oklahoma favored by, was it 9 against Kansas?
Yeah, I'll take Kansas in those 9 points.
It's got to be. Does Vegas think that Kansas is just going to go back to being Kansas now that they've lost?
Well, they're probably looking, like you just said, Oklahoma's expected to get its quarterback back, and Kansas doesn't have its starting quarterback, even though I think the kid's name is Jason Bean from Kansas. Yeah. I thought he played really well. And he's been a starter
That's a weird line. Like, what does Vegas know? Because what your eyes would tell you, Oklahoma has not been competitive in almost a month. I mean, would you say that K-State game was competitive?
No, well.
At times?
Well, what was the – yeah, wasn't that a touchdown game?
Yeah, but it was not a touchdown game for –
most of the game.
Oklahoma made a run late, right?
All right.
Yeah, they won at Nebraska 49-14. They lost by a touchdown to K-State, but I'd have to go back and look at the ebbs and flows of that game. Lost by 30 to TCU, obviously 49 to Kansas.
Who are you picking between Iowa State and Texas?
Oh, pick Texas, but I think that line's too big.
16. Yeah, I'd take
14.5.
Well, it was 16.
Oh, was it? It's been bet down to 14.5.
So, but yeah, Iowa State actually plays some pretty good defense. They held Kansas to 11.
Quinn's been really good this year. I still think he's got a stinker in him. Maybe he's matured past it. But I look at this Texas team. They have lost their minds after their 49-0 win over a hapless, just lifeless Oklahoma team. I don't think they're going to go 10-2. I think they're an 8-4, 7-5 team. That's just my opinion. But I do think they beat Iowa State.
I think they're going to beat Iowa State. I just would take Iowa State to cover.
All right, when we come back on the other side of the end of the hour here, Olin will stay with me for one more segment. We'll have Jason Howell, Michael Early in the 9 o'clock hour, and we'll also go around Aggieland. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
Start your Aggie football Saturday with the Zone Game Day Show, brought to you by TexAgs. Join me, Louis Bellina, and my friends like Olin, Cease, Dusty, and Bryce. It's the Zone Game Day Show, 3 hours before kickoff every Aggie football game. Game Day, all day long on the Zone, is brought to you by David's Jewelry and Coin Exchange, King Ranch, Saddle Shop, Texas, Mobile One Oil and Lube, and the George Bush Presidential Library and Museum.
Vehicle accidents are stressful enough. You don't need someone showing up at the scene trying to pressure you into letting them tow away your vehicle. Call your roadside assistance provider or insurance company for towing company suggestions, or consult with police on the scene. And always have the price and terms in writing before you let them hook it up. If you suspect fraud, call us at 1-800-TEL-NICB or visit www.nicb.org. A public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
Questions, comments, or opinions about anything and everything and all things The Zone. Send your emails to Louie@BryantBroadcasting.com. That's Louie@BryantBroadcasting.com. This is KZNE College Station, Bryan.
From WTAW, this is a news update on the Zone. College Station Mayor Carl Mooney announced during last night's City Council meeting that Fujifilm Diosynth Biotechnologies, the largest employer in the Baja corridor, is breaking ground on another expansion the week after next.
Fuji on October 25th is going to be breaking ground for another $330 million addition.
Mooney's comments preceded council approval to rename the street through the Fujifilm campus from Biomedical Way to Fujifilm Way. The owner of College Station's Hullabaloo Diner tells the city council he's looking for a place to show more than 500 pieces of entertainment artifacts.
I've collected movie props and wardrobes since the 1960s.
Eric Schulte says he could fill 10 to 20,000 square feet in what he's calling the Museum of Grand Junk. Because Schulte spoke during the public comment portion of last night's council meeting, the governing body could not respond to his offer. No additional information has been released by Texas A&M officials from yesterday's bomb threat that led to the evacuation of Kyle Field and the Bright football complex. A&M police say an anonymous call was received at the Technology Services Help Desk that made reference to the stadium. Those involved in the 2.5-hour search included A&M police and 3 UPD canines that specialize in explosive detection. An inmate at the Brazos County Jail was sexually assaulted last weekend. Yesterday, the sheriff's office announced the arrest of 3 inmates, 17-year-old Devin Newton of Caldwell, 17-year-old Tavares Lyles, and 18-year-old Fidel Sanchez Jr. of Bryan, all charged with aggravated sexual assault. Newton also charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and sexual coercion. Sanchez also charged with sexual coercion and assault causing bodily injury. A news release from the sheriff's office states that an administrative investigation is underway to review policies, procedures, actions, and training to ensure that every possible measure is being taken to prevent sexual assault and harassment. That's news on the Zone.
Time to talk Factory Builder Stores, celebrating that new location in College Station, located at 11907 Welborn Road, right next to the Ashley Furniture Outlet. They can service builders and the general public with locations throughout Texas, including right here in College Station. And at Factory Builder Stores, you're dealing with local people who do things the right way. So whether you're building a home or upgrading your appliances or outdoor living at your existing home, let Factory Builder Stores take care of you. Factory Builder Stores, College Station Showroom, open now Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. at Old Welborn Road, factorybuilderstores.com.
If you own construction equipment and need replacement rubber tracks, now's the time to get $200 off your next set of rubber tracks at WPI. Regardless of your machine's make or model, WPI can help. From custom hydraulic hoses, O-rings, and depth to teeth, buckets, and blades is at your local WPI. Visit Jesse James at WPI's new location in Bryan. Hurry in. $200 off rubber tracks in soon. Highway 21 East at Marino Road, or click WPI.com.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HilcoSupply.com. Texas A&M football had to cancel practice yesterday due to a bomb threat made for Kyle Field. Now, the threat came in at around 1:25 p.m., forcing athletes and staff to evacuate the Bright football complex. Following a search, an all clear was given around 3:49 p.m. The Aggies are in a bye this week before hitting the road for South Carolina on October 22nd. A&M women's soccer is back in action this evening as it welcomes Auburn to town. First kick is at 7 o'clock at Ellis Field. Men's tennis heads to Baylor today for the ITA Texas Regional with match play. Things get underway this morning in Waco with doubles teams action. Men's and women's cross country host the Arturo Barrios Invitational tomorrow. Competition begins at 9 a.m. at the Watts course. And A&M baseball kicks off its exhibition slate Saturday against Lamar. Coach Jim Schlossnagel on the returning leadership from last season's College World Series team.
Getting all those guys back, specifically Werner, Boast, and Minnick, along with Targach and Jack Moss. If you watch practice, you have so many different points during the course of practice where you'll see peer instruction going on. And, man, that's really cool, and that's really awesome.
Schloss and the guys take on Lamar tomorrow at 1 p.m. at Bluebell Park. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hilco Metal Roofing and Supply. On the Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
This is Daryl from Columbus, previously from the Paul Feinbaum Show.
You're a Tennessee alumni, and you want so badly to beat Alabama. I know. I mean, it's been 15 years?
2006.
But I'm gonna
Not that I'm keeping track.
I'm still hoping for a victory.
October 17th,
but,
2006 at 6:14 p.m. in the afternoon.
It's the Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
was working through college.
Sing it, OB.
I'm not going to sing it about some dude working on some chick's farm and they're going to drink strawberry wine and make out. No. But I have two-step. Actually, I've waltzed to that song more than once. Yeah, it's a waltz.
You're good. I feel like you, in your day, pretty apt on the dance floor.
Well, it's well known that's how I met my wife.
Right.
Now,
can she dance?
Yeah, she can dance like any way she wants, but I'm more of a two-stepper and
hold on, what? She can...
because how the kids, they dance, they kind of gyrate in front of each other and call it dancing. Can you imagine me? That'd be the most ridiculous thing that you've ever seen. But Irma can dance that way, but, when she gyrates, it doesn't look ridiculous. It looks like an attractive woman dancing. When I do it, it looks like it's a big pile of fat that's just kind of shaking in the wind.
She doesn't listen, right?
Sometimes. Well, I didn't say anything that she wouldn't.
Right. Well, I didn't know if she thought on a Friday morning that we'd be talking about her gyrating. Or not we, you.
She, and being Hispanic, she does that salsa dancing really well.
Oh, yeah, cumbia, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, she tried to teach me, but my hips don't move.
Okay. Some more games to get to. We had the 6 ranked matchups that we went over at the end of the 8 o'clock hour. A couple more, not ranked versus ranked, but LSU traveling to Florida. Hopefully no shoes are going to be thrown. I like the Gators.
Okay. I'm going to take LSU in that one.
Why?
Because Florida's run defense is atrocious. It's worse than A&M's.
I agree. And I think that does present problems for Florida's defense because they've been awful on third downs. And we know that LSU's offense, at least up to this point, has been Jaden Daniels running. Much less than his
They got
arm.
Emory back. He's not great. He's never been a 5-star guy, but he's okay. And
Florida did look bad too against Mizzou, didn't they?
They did. And really their offense.
I don't think either one of these teams are very good at all.
I think LSU has much better receivers than Florida does. So I think LSU is more apt to make a play. LSU is more apt. I don't know if they will, but they're more apt to make a play in the passing game, I think, than Florida is.
And we've seen Anthony Richardson, when he's on his best day, he can win the game for them. But how many times has he been on his best day? He was good against Tennessee. He was really good against Utah.
Yeah, and again, what does it mean when you're really good against a Pac-12 team?
Sure. You're kind of talking me into LSU. I'll stick with Florida. I like them in the swamp. I like them at home. And I think there's a different atmosphere and aura when LSU comes in as opposed to when Mizzou comes in.
Yeah, that's probably
I'll hang
true.
my hat on that. Upset watch potentially. Clemson travels to Tallahassee.
I'm all over Clemson.
They're playing much better, and DJ's playing much better, which has been because there was a big push early on to play Cade Klubnik.
Yeah, they'd probably be better. But
he's playing better, though. Am I missing something there?
No, he's playing better.
He was awful.
I think Clemson plays pretty good defense, and Florida State, they've been saved a lot by that 6'7" receiver that transferred, from Arizona State. But I still don't think Florida State's very good. I think LSU gave them a football game, gave them a win with their terrible special teams.
Yeah, but Olin, that Florida State was getting ready to score and end the game, and they fumbled.
That's right. And you know what? But you know why they were there?
I don't remember.
Because LSU fumbled the punt for the second time.
Oh, that's right.
So when I say LSU gave them a game.
Again, I don't think Florida State's very good. I don't think LSU's very good.
I don't think Florida State's very good. I think Clemson, not as good as they used to be, but still really good.
You made a case. They could pretty easily run to the playoff. You know what? I listened to Josh Pate last night. Love Josh Pate. I always think it's always incredible to me, Olin, that he can sit there with no help, no guest, and talk for an hour about college football and not have stutters and breakups and repeating himself and just very fluid at what he does. Pretty incredible to do without a host. I know there are guys across the country that do it like Colin Cowherd, but Josh Pate, super talented at what he does. Anyway.
I like him.
Made a case for potentially, he goes, I don't think this is going to happen, but what if Tennessee beats Alabama?
Okay.
Georgia beats Tennessee.
Okay.
Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC final, SEC championship game.
Well,
his case was, is that a scenario where 3 SEC teams get in?
And I would think no. I think Ohio State's probably going to get in, or somebody from the Big Ten.
Well, the Big Ten is going. I think they're going to get one.
Yeah.
Now, if Clemson runs the table, they're in.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Pac-12 can play its way out, but if USC runs the table, Oregon. What happens if Oregon goes 11-1 with their only loss to Georgia at the beginning of the year?
I think
they get in.
I don't know. Again, you got to tell me what Clemson does.
Right. It's nearly impossible that would happen. But somebody asked him, is there a scenario where the SEC gets 3 teams into the playoff? And I'm going, well, there's no way the committee would ever allow that to happen. But is this the scenario? And I think that would have to be it. They all go, so Tennessee, Bama, and Georgia all go 11-1 with losses to each other.
Yeah. That would be interesting. I think you just hit the nail on the head, though, that there's no way the committee would let it happen.
Yep.
I would tell you this, though. If that did happen, all that discussion and negotiations about expanding the playoff to 12 teams will be expedited.
You think so?
Well, they didn't want to go to they weren't going to go to a playoff until you got 2 SEC teams playing for the national championship. Yeah. And they're like, maybe we need to rethink this.
What do you make of Georgia's struggles?
What's the big struggle? They had a really close game against Missouri. They got into the fourth quarter and then, oh, hey, we're losing. And then they just turned it on and won, right? I think Georgia probably, quite frankly, looks to me like a team that kind of lost interest for a while and thought it was going to be really easy. They started doing stuff like dumb stuff that's Kirby Smart's teams typically won't do. I'm not saying they don't do. He does dumb stuff, even though he's cleaned that up. But they were pointing to their fingers like rings, and talking a lot of trash. Guys that hadn't actually won rings, and I think they're going to clean that up. I think Georgia's still really, really good. I mean, how many times have you seen Clemson win a national championship, but they had 1 or 2 games?
Oh, sure. You're going to have those throughout the year. I guess we had just kind of gotten so used to Georgia, like Bama was doing 4 or 5 years ago with Tua and Ruggs and Waddle and Devontae Smith, where it was like every week it's 30-point wins, And we got used to Georgia doing that. They had the kind of sleepwalk through a Kent State game, and then really, I mean, I there were times in that Missouri game where I'm going, okay, this might really happen. Like it was getting late in the fourth quarter, and Georgia continued to not make plays.
And then when they absolutely had to,
they did.
They did.
So
but,
I don't know if that's the wake
game,
up.
I know it was Auburn, but the last game they won 42-10.
Yeah. Auburn.
Everybody was upset about them beating Kent State 39-22.
There's big speculation on the internet that Lane Kiffin may beat Auburn this week.
And then go to Auburn.
I
would not discount anything when it comes to Lane Kiffin. In fact, if UCLA had not finally
got it together,
showed up, I wouldn't be surprised.
I wonder how good they are too, though.
I really questioned them until they beat Utah last week, and even then, Utah helped them out a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I still question how good they are. I mean, they beat South Alabama because the South Alabama coach was an idiot and wouldn't kick a field goal when he had an opportunity.
Right. That's right.
And so then UCLA beats them on a field goal.
They've just been so out of sight, out of mind for so long in college football that seeing them undefeated even only 6 weeks into the season is something really new for a lot of people that follow the sport for the last 20, 30 years. So I think the Pac-12 is going to get a team into the playoff.
I don't.
You don't?
No.
So you're high on USC, but you don't think they're going to win out?
No, even if they win out.
Undefeated USC ain't getting in.
No.
You're crazy.
Okay. All right.
That's that brand name? Come on, OB. You saw what they did to A&M when they slid Notre Dame ahead of them.
Okay. Are you going to take USC over, say, 12-1?
I think they would. What would happen is they would get.
Are you going to let me? Are you going to let me?
Go ahead.
Are you going to take USC even undefeated over 12-1 Georgia?
No, but I don't think Georgia's going 12-1.
If they do, because you're assuming we're doing the assumption here. You're assuming USC is going to. Yeah. So, are you going to take them then over 13-0 Alabama?
No.
Are you going to take them over Ohio State?
What, undefeated Ohio State?
Undefeated. If we're assuming, so How about Clemson? I just said.
In that scenario, I think the committee would leave out the SEC, the second SEC team for USC, because they've had two SEC teams in so many times. If the committee sees an opportunity to get USC into the playoff over the second SEC team, I think they would do it.
A USC team that's going to have probably at the end of the year, maybe one win over a ranked opponent.
If I agree, but they're going to do it. We saw the resumes with A&M and Notre Dame that year.
Here's the difference, and people here don't want to hear this. The committee, they look at A&M the same way they look at TCU and Baylor. People don't want to hear that, but it's true. They don't look at Clemson that way. They don't look at Georgia that way. They don't look at Alabama that way. They don't look at Oklahoma State that way. So Oklahoma or Ohio State. I'm in Ohio State. They don't look at them that way. So if those are the four teams that USC's got to get in over, I doubt it's happening. Because now if it was A&M and USC had to get over A&M, then yeah, USC's going to get in over A&M. It's not fair. It's not right. Maybe that A&M team is better, but they're gonna take the brand over A&M.
I would think that they would give USC the second SEC spot. If it's an undefeated USC and a one-loss SEC team, I think they're going to give it to USC.
I think if Georgia or
now if they lose, if the Pac-12 loses,
let's give Georgia the win. So Georgia is 13-0, and Alabama's 12-1.
Yeah.
You're going to take USC over Alabama I bet when Alabama will have wins over, say, a Mississippi State that's going to be ranked high, a Tennessee that's going to be ranked.
I'm not disagreeing with the logic. I'm saying what I think the committee would do.
And I'm saying I don't think they will do that.
No. It's an opportunity for them to do something different.
Especially.
And get in that L.A. market.
But especially, the L.A. market, they don't care about college football. Especially if the SEC championship game in this scenario is a closely competitive game.
I don't think USC is going undefeated.
Then that'll be the end of the discussion.
Right. And I don't think a one-loss Pac-12 team is going to get in over anybody. And I think there's a really safe bet that Ohio State or a Big Ten team gets in. And if Clemson runs the table in the ACC, they're getting in.
And I think Clemson runs the table if they win this week or next week.
I appreciate you staying extra 15 minutes. That's Olin Buchanan, Ryan Brauninger. On the other side of the break, Jason Howell will join us. We'll talk a little A&M recruiting and get his outlook on how things are shaping up in the bye week on the recruiting front. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Texas A&M Health Science Center students invite the community to the Big Health Event, a free health fair on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Sue Haswell Park. Health screenings, education, medication reviews, and more. Wiener Spiel is October 15th and 16th at Wolfpen Creek Amphitheater, Wiener Dog and wannabe Wiener Dog races, and more. Visit wienerspiel.org for more information. Our Savior's Lutheran Church invites you to their annual Fall Festival on Sunday, October 16th from 4 to 7 p.m. Proceeds benefit Twin City Mission and the Boy Scouts of America. The BCS Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for Bryan candidates is Monday, October 17th from 6 to 8 at the Brazos Center. Listen to the forum on 1620-94.5 or online at radioaggieland.com. Win your Texas Renaissance Festival tickets every Monday on the Louis Bellina Show and every Wednesday at zone1150.com. Thanks to Bud Light. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
How about Fargo's? They've got the new location there, the Fargo's Pit Barbecue new location. Jump in the car and head over to 1701 South Texas Avenue in Bryan. One of the top 50 barbecue joints in the world, according to Texas Monthly. And you got to go check it out, guys. It's a small little place where the food is excellent and really, really good. They're open for lunch or dinner Tuesday through Saturday. There's the pit and everything else out there. Fargo's famous pit barbecue. Flavor of wood fire in the pit. Fargo does what they do, and they love what they're doing. No mass production either. They do it for you when you get there. They have a secret, and it's not only the sauce out there. And they sell out early on specials, so Fargo is encouraging you to call in or pick up orders. Maurice is going to handle that for you. Let them know what you need and what time you need to pick it up, and Fargo's will have it ready for you. You go straight to the counter, ask for Alan or Belender out there, and they got a lot of great specials out there. How about the rib tips? Tips, not teeps, but teeps too. The rib tips are phenomenal out there. You guys like those? Yeah. Once gone, they're gone. Wednesday chopped beef. on a baked potato. Also the beef ribs on Wednesday and Saturday. Thursday, pork chops and mac and cheese. Today you can get the green beans and the red potatoes as well. The Friday, fish, corn, coleslaw, you name it. Saturday, remember Fargo's has the beef ribs on Saturday and Wednesday, and pork ribs as well. Go check it out. It is Fargo's in Bryan, 1701 South Texas Avenue. Call them up, 979-778-3662.
Do you love Aggie football? The Louis Bellina Show, presented by B&B Automotive and Superior Auto Service. Two remarkable businesses, one great family. We love Aggie football, too. Every Monday at 2, it's Aggie Football Media Day. Jimbo Fisher live, thanks to T-Mobile. And every Wednesday, we listen into the players. Also, thank you, T-Mobile, the official 5G provider of the SEC. Check in with the Louis Bellina Show weekdays, 11 to 2.
Well, I remember it all very well. Looking back, it was the summer I turned 18. We lived in a one-room run-down shack on the outskirts of New Orleans. We didn't have money for food or rent, to say the least. We were hard-pressed. Then Mama spent every last penny we had to buy me a dancing dress. Well, Mama washed and combed and curled my hair, and she painted
My fiance wanted to name our dog Fancy. And we went with Dolly instead. I said she's not going to name her after a woman of the night like Fancy, but named her Dolly, and she's certainly got a personality similar to Dolly Parton. We're going to go out to the phone lines to talk with TexAgs recruiting analyst, my coworker Jason Howell, who I don't know if he acts more like Dolly Parton or Fancy or Reba McEntire or any of them at all. But we got Jason tuned in. Jason, are you out on the road already?
No. I'm recovering from waking up early for my 3 things, and then we'll get out this evening.
Well, as can happen in our industry, no good deed goes unpunished. So I drove to way South Houston last night, Iowa Colony, and you forget kind of how far south that place is until you actually have to drive it and get into the stadium about 6 o'clock, 6:05, and by about 6:10, 6:15, we get a lightning warning, or everybody's got to clear the field, and so we go sit in the field house, and next thing I know, I'm in my car waiting out a giant rainstorm, and then they canceled it. So I drove all the way down there for no high school football game. Drove all the way back. I was up early this morning to host radio, but hey, what can you do, you know?
Absolutely. It's the perks of the job, right?
Yeah. So, look, we have you on, and you and I talk a lot during the week on the phone about just the general status of A&M recruiting. And one of the questions that we had gotten in on the text line earlier, Amarillo National Bank text line, 979-693-1150, if you want to interact with the show, was just asking about how is A&M going to combat the negative recruiting on the offensive side? And that's a question that we've gotten a bunch, and maybe some people have missed the answer. But I'll let you tackle it first. But there's kind of general consensus on how they're going to have to do this thing, and I don't know that it can start on the recruiting trail.
Yeah, I mean, you got to show it on the field. You got to show that. Hey, you point to Alabama and you say, look at Evan Stewart, look at Chris Marshall. These guys are getting in the mix. And you got to show it. You can't just sit here and talk about, we're gonna. No, those days are in the past, and it's time to at least show some promise. And I think Alabama, where you did see those guys get into the mix, you did see, Muhammad, do his thing and start to, over the last 2 games for Moose. But you've seen those guys getting more in the mix, and but they just have to continue to build on that, and that's really what it comes down to. The O-line has a show. They're going to open up those lanes, which they have been doing more and more, but they got to do it with more consistency. And
Sure.
If you got multiple backs, I heard Billy talking about wanting to see, Le'Veon and some of these other guys get into the mix. And I agree. You get, I think that's one thing that, that has hurt them with running backs. But they have shown that in the past.
Yeah, they're kind of at a catch-22 at running back, right? Because anytime somebody else plays means you're taking A-Chain off the field, and with kind of limited offensive plays, you don't want number 6 off the field for too long. But I agree. And I think if you want to take an example, look at the defensive side and what they've been able to do on the recruiting trail. And one of the main reasons for that is because they're playing a lot of those young guys on defense. And so I think that there's not a message that they can say anymore and sell a vision on the offensive side as things currently stand, because you've been selling kind of that vision for a while, and now you got to do it. And people are ready to see the results. And I'm not talking about fans. I'm talking about recruits, high school coaches, trainers, parents. So they want to see the proof is in the pudding at this point, I guess, with the offense. So how they end up in this class, and we're going to go through. Excuse me. We're going to go through the commits. I got a little game we're going to play, but they don't have any skill positions committed, and how that gets filled out for the remainder of the class is one of, if not the most interesting talking point from now until December and then through February. Well,
and I pointed out this morning, this isn't unfamiliar territory. Yes, this is all situations aren't equal. There's different factors and things like that. But they have been in this position before where they're looking for running back and receiver this late. And, last year you had Noah Thomas, and, it was November before you started to see things really pick up at receiver.
That's right. Chris Marshall was the Auburn game.
Yeah, and Evan Stewart at this point last year was still, we'll see, So, so we've been here. As far as covering it and seeing it, and seeing how they've been able to close over the last few years since Jimbo's here. But I agree with you. There's definitely something that needs to be addressed.
Okay, so 12 commitments as things currently stand. Let's go through these quickly, Jason. And we don't have to go through all of them, but just some guys that I'm going to say some names, and then you're going to tell me how confident that you are that they make an impact, not just on special teams, but offense or defensive impact as a true freshman. So your level of confidence that they come in and are immediate contributors. I think the top 2 guys in the class is pretty easy, David Hicks and Anthony Hill.
Yeah, I think that's high, super high.
Yeah.
We're giving percentage. What we're doing.
Extremely confident.
They're going to be hard to keep off the field. It would take something extreme out there.
And Anthony looks like, and we've said it in the first hour, like this is a kid that's going to come in and play at linebacker from day one, likely. I mean, he's as advertised. He's productive. He's a great prospect. He's a productive player. He's the best high school football linebacker I've ever watched with my 2 eyes.
I had a college coach last year during the playoffs tell me that kid could play in the SEC right now today.
Yeah.
That was last year.
Yeah, as a junior. Okay. Chase Basantis.
O-line's always tricky, but, man.
His tape's fantastic.
I think there's a really good chance he winds up in the 2 deep at the very least.
Yeah, at the very least. I don't expect him to play because if you look at what's happened on the offensive line, especially if it's going to be Cam Dewberry at left guard going forward, then you've got a first-year starter in Trey Zune at left tackle and Dewberry at left guard. Bryce as a junior next year. Layden would be a senior. Ruben would be a junior. So there's time, and that's what you want on the offensive line is like you kind of want some time for these guys to grow and learn. But I agree with you. Basantis could certainly walk right into the 2 deep next year.
Well, and he's a guy that can push, tackle, and guard.
Mm-hmm.
He's a guy that at the very least, like I said, 2 deep. But he's a guy, hey, if it's not working out with whoever, tackle or guard, then he's a guy that, you don't put on a leash. You let him go out there and do his thing.
We'll go to the two small-town kids next, both listed as athletes. We think they're going to start on the defensive side, Bravion Rogers and Dalton Brooks. I'll start here, Jason. I think there's a chance that they play because the staff has shown they're going to rotate these young defensive backs. And even with a group that coming back that should be loaded, I think Bravion and Dalton can get on the field. I'll say this about Dalton Brooks that I didn't know until I went and watched him play. That dude is a head-hunting son of a gun, and he ain't afraid. And I came away thinking he could play on the back end of the secondary next year if he had to because of how he sees the game, how he feels the game, and he is just fearless going to the football.
And I agree with you. I do. And shoot, I mean, we talk about the lack of offensive skill players. Both of those guys can be dangerous on the offensive side too.
Yep.
So, I mean, if you need them over there, I wouldn't be surprised to see them get a shot if they come in ready to go.
Yeah, running out of time, Jason, but I did want to get quick thoughts. Javon Thomas is on this list of commits. He hasn't played this year. Do you have any kind of update on his health? We've obviously seen guys that are at A&M now miss their senior seasons and it not affect their playing time or their career when they come to College Station. Jared Kerr, Deuce Harmon, those come to the front of the mind right there when you think about guys that have been in that situation. But any update on Javon?
I do look for him to be back, around playoff time, kind of like he did last year. Last year was a different situation, wasn't an injury. It was an eligibility thing after moving in from Corsicana. This year, he got a couple nagging injuries back and hamstring, and I think, with their district, they're letting other guys get those reps and letting him, get back to health, and I think you'll see him around playoff time.
All right, Jason, appreciate you calling in, buddy. Be safe on the road tonight.
Always, man. You too.
Yeah, man. All right, that's Jason Howell, TexAgs senior recruiting analyst. On the other side of the break, I will have Texas A&M hitting coach Michael Early joining us on the phone line as the Aggies get ready to host the Lamar Cardinals on Saturday in an exhibition game there at Olsen Field at Bluebell Park. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, represented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
You never know who might stop by TexAgs Radio. Jimbo, Schloss, Buzz, Ross. It's TexAgs Radio, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 11 on The Zone.
All right, let's talk about the Ryan Targach combo. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I had that the other day.
Was it delish?
That was really good.
I like it.
I like their quesadillas. I just like the way they do the tortillas on the quesadillas. Really good.
I love their tortilla soup. Have you had that there?
No.
It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very, very good. And fits my macros.
How much chicken is in it? A lot? Normal?
I would say the right amount for the amount of broth you get.
Yeah.
If broth is the right word.
It doesn't need to be too chickeny.
Right.
Is it fajita type chicken or is it kind of shredded?
Fajita type chicken. And shredded. There's a little bit of both.
I need some shredded.
Actually, I can't remember right now.
Yeah,
well, it's just good chicken.
Not a very good salesman, but talk about it.
But do you want to eat it now? Right now at 9:52.
I would. There ain't nothing wrong with soup in the morning.
No, $12.99 for the Ryan Targach combo, by the way. Grilled chicken, quesadilla, side of ranch, and a large drink. Not available through online ordering. The tailgate menu is awesome as well. Next time you have a tailgate party, the 12th taco bar is good. The pass it back burritos. The eat the hell out of the nacho bar, all there at Costa Vida in South College Station. Holly does a wonderful job. She's a great Aggie. Loves bringing the great food here to the Brazos Valley. Go check them out in South College Station, code Costa Vida, Aggie owned and operated, 4501 Mills Park Circle in College Station.
Come experience the Warehouse at CC Creations, the world's greatest Aggie shopping experience. With 28,750 square feet, the Warehouse at CC Creations is the Guinness World Records title holder for the largest collegiate merchandise store in the world. We are your one-stop shop for your entire family to stock up on Aggie apparel and gifts. Shop in-store 7 days a week or online at thewarehouseatcc.com. Keep the tradition. Shop the Warehouse, located at 114 Holloman, just 1 mile south of Kyle Field.
VeraBank is open and we are excited to serve you in College Station. Hi, this is Erica Archer, Treasury Management Officer at VeraBank, and I specialize in helping businesses run their day-to-day operations more efficiently, saving you valuable time. Our team's job is to make yours easier. So give us a call or come by and see us off of Highway 6. At VeraBank, you have a team of genuine bankers on your side, and you can bank on it.
Visit verabank.com today. That's VERA bank.com. VeraBank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Looking for the Zone prize rules? Would you like to apply for a job at the Zone? Or need a phone number or email for the Zone? Visit zone1150.com. Would you like to sign up for the Zone All Access newsletter? Looking for podcasts of TexAgs Radio, The Louis Bellina Show, or Chip Howard? Or would you like to see the Zone's daily schedule? Visit zone1150.com. For more information, any questions, to contact us for everything and anything about the Zone, visit zone1150.com.
Sister cries out from her baby bed. Brother runs in, feathers on his head. Mama's in her room.
Might be the most underrated country artist of the 1990s. Tracy Lawrence has hits. Put on his greatest hits album, and you don't need to skip one. Drive for a while. Ryan Brauninger in the host chair today. TexAgs Radio presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're going right back out to the hotline to join is Texas A&M hitting coach Michael Early joins the show. Coach Early, I appreciate the time, buddy. Just how excited are you for Saturday to get that offense back on the field? And I know a bunch of returning guys, but a bunch of fresh faces for the fan base to get to know.
Yeah, what's up, Bronny? Good to be on. No, it's very exciting to get back on the field, obviously, with the guys and playing, and someone in a different uniform. We've been playing each other for a few weeks now, and it'll just be great. Last time we were on the field, for a game against another opponent was a super regional, so a little bit different environment. But once the year's over, you got to start back over and get it rolling again, and that all starts on Saturday.
I asked Slosh this when we had him on the radio on Tuesday of this week to get ready for this game, but just kind of the maturity and the growth you've seen from all these returners and the guys that chose to come back to A&M, Boast, Minnick, Werner, but you've also got Targach and Moss. Like, how have you seen that group of veterans take the next step?
They become coaches themselves, and I think Coach says it all the time. You want it to be, coach-fed and player-led, and that's exactly what it's turned into. There's moments where you have to step in, obviously, and you have to coach, but a lot of them pulling guys to the side and taking care of issues or guys learning things they wouldn't have known, but older guys like Jack Moss, Trevor Werner, Austin Bose, Brett Minnick, kind of showing them along the way, and it just flows. I mean, it flows a lot better. From our first scrimmage last year, I believe it was last weekend last year, it felt like it took forever to get to that just because it's all new people and all new things, where this year it feels like it's flying by just because we're able to cover more stuff because of the situations, like having those veterans.
How is it, like, how do you take the next step? How do these guys take the next step offensively? You returned a ton of firepower from last year, but what has been the focus of Trevor Werner or Jack Moss in these off-season workouts and kind of the one-on-one skill session you guys get to have in the cages? Like, how do you see progression from those guys?
Just embracing the monotony of being a good hitter is continuing to do the same things that work. And, for me, I got, a bunch of different hitters, and I'm saying a bunch of the same stuff to all the time. I even hate hearing my own voice sometimes. So for them, it's about, knowing what works and continue to stick with the plan we've had. With Jack, his biggest focus has been strength and conditioning, like getting bigger and stronger. It had nothing to do with the swing, maybe a few things here and there. Trevor, we've worked on a few things just because I didn't really get much of a chance during the season to work with Trevor. Because he started off so well, there was nothing to work on. And then he got hurt. And when he got hurt, it was really about managing, just get him to be able to play in the game. So this has really been, since last fall, time I've got to work with Trevor. So working with a guy like him is obviously a lot of fun to do. And just really, for the most part, man, just kind of sticking with what we do and knowing it works. And the veteran guys, holding younger guys accountable makes everyone's job a lot easier.
I know you're in year 2 here, but you've got an extensive history already even as a young coach with dealing with some really top-end hitters. Where does Austin Bose rank on the guys that you've coached in terms of just talent in the batter's box, bat to ball?
Bat to ball, I would say I got a few number ones, and he's one of them. I mean, pure just bat to ball skill. I don't want to say a few. I mean, like 1 or 2, maybe 3. He looks really good, and his plan too. It's been the same. It's someone asked me, what would you do different with him? Absolutely nothing. He missed all last fall with a back injury, didn't really get to lift weights, and he just looks like a different person. And I think you saw the other day, you were out there, the most impressive display of practice hitting I've ever seen. For those who don't know, we were hitting off the machine and we were hitting velocity, and we wanted it to be, like 90, 94. Well, the gun was messed up. It looked harder to me, but it's kind of hard to tell. I mean, when it's over 90, it looks hard, and the whole group is struggling, and Bose is just barrel after barrel. Well, we returned the TrackMan on, and the whole time it had been 96 to 100.
Yep.
And just literally way too hard for practice, just a little bit over the top, and Bose is just putting on a display the whole time. He thought it was, 92, 93 miles an hour. So he's very, very impressive when it comes to bat-to-ball skills.
Again, a lot of familiar names for the fans to come out and see on Saturday from an offensive perspective, but there are going to be a couple of new ones, and a guy that you're going to be really familiar with coming over from Arizona State is Hunter Haas. He's going to potentially take over there at shortstop. Can you give kind of the A&M baseball fans a preview of what they're going to get out of Hunter?
Hunter Haas is exactly what you want in a baseball player, and the big reason when he went in the transfer portal why we jumped on him wasn't necessarily his skill set, which is really good. It's just that I knew he'd be a perfect fit in an Aggie uniform and in this program and this university. He's a really good player. He stays on baseballs, fundamentally sound shortstop, good athlete. He's not, I want to call him a huge power guy, but he's gap to gap. I think his first live at bat here, he did hit a home run. He'll have some of those here and there, but he's a doubles hitter, guy who can really, I think, set the table, whether we choose to lead him off or wherever he hits in the lineup, be productive. I think when he was at Arizona State as a freshman, he hit second a little bit for us, and he hit fifth or sixth just because really good bat to ball, get guys on base. He'll hit him in, or if you need him to get on base. So really good player, very instinctual, and plays hard.
I know he's hurt, but how excited are you about Brett Minnick now that he looks? I mean, he told me, he sat down in here and told me, Coach, that he's added almost 25 pounds to his frame. Like, what is the potential now in terms of the power output from Brett Minnick when he gets fully healthy?
Yeah, I mean, it's up there, obviously. I mean, if you look even back at his career, he had the COVID season, and then the following year, he, I believe, injured his wrist, right? He injured his wrist. So last year is his first full year playing. So add a year of playing plus the weight, he's actually been hitting every day now the last 3 or 4 days. He doesn't really look like he's missed a beat, which is really good. He's held his swing together. I know he's been doing a lot of mental reps. The biggest thing for him is just getting in better swing shape, I call it, like being able to get to your fourth round and not be completely tired and get something out of it, which I think he'll start to turn the corner with here real quick. But very excited. I mean, he's a really, really good player, and you can't put a price on experience. You really can't. So having a guy back like him with some experience under his belt, left-handed hitter, a plus, right fielder, in my eyes, like one of the better guys, probably the best guy I've ever had in right field as far as like a feel to where to move and counts. I think he saw some big plays he made last year. So just all around great player and good guy to have in the locker room, a good guy to have back.
And I've seen, to me, going out there and watching practice without Minnick in the outfield, Jordan Thompson's your only veteran out there. To me, and this is just my observation, you can tell me I'm wrong, but it seems like he's kind of riding the confidence he gained down the stretch last year where he might have been y'all's postseason MVP, Coach. That confidence is really carried over into practice, and it seems like he's taken a leadership role amongst that group of outfielders.
He really has. I mean, you're correct there, 100%. He's the same person, but a different person because of the confidence. He's a guy, you look at just in time last year to where we're at right now, I mean, the growth he's made just from a confidence, leadership standpoint, and he had a heck of a postseason. I mean, I think he led our team in home runs and RBIs, and it felt like all those came in big situations. So I think he's riding off that. You can see that spring guys to the next level. He's not the biggest guy, but he can run the ball a yard just like a big guy, but he's done a really good job this fall on staying on baseballs, hitting balls the other way when he needs to, and without giving up some of his pull side power. So he's made a big jump. He's made a leadership jump. He's a really good outfielder, good arm, just he doesn't get talked about enough, in my opinion, which, I mean, there's so many guys we had from last year, but what that kid did and provided for our team was really, really good. And I mean, another guy you're super excited to have back.
Yeah, and before I let you go, Mike, I got to ask you about 3 freshman left-handed hitters. We've heard a lot about Jace LaViolette, but I think people are going to find out about Caden Kent and potentially even Blake Hansen in the spring. What have you seen out of those young guys, and then how does it help them to have a guy that hits from the left side like Jack Moss and his preparation and his intent as an example?
I mean, having Jack as an example for anyone is great, and along with some other guys. But, yeah, him specifically from the left side. Jace, Jace's power is undeniable. Got to own him down and make sure he really controls the strike zone. He's got a big frame, so a big guy to throw to, but he's made some pretty big jumps. Caden Kent is a guy, I think you'll definitely hear his name. He's a really, really tireless, hard worker, tough kid. Just plays the game hard. He's just a baseball player through and through. Like, the guy is just a baseball player. And I would never be uncomfortable with him getting in at bat in any situation, because you're going to get his best effort. And you're going to get a competitive AB and someone who grinds. And then, Blake is one that has a ton of power. He's made some jumps. Obviously he's been playing some first base. We got Jack Moss over there, but good guy he can learn from all the way around. But Blake is. All 3 of those guys are super impressive, especially from the left side. They all do stuff a little bit differently, which is nice. Jace has got super raw power. Blake's got some raw power too. I think Jace is just a little bit. Jace's raw power, I think, is different than most people. I think you know that from coaching him.
And most humans.
Caden Kent's more of than most humans on the planet. But Caden Kent, he can hit the ball from line to line, but he's also come into some power and hit some pull side home runs and BP. He actually hit an oppo home run in a game here. So I wouldn't necessarily, he's a power guy, but I think power is going to come for him, and he's going to be one of those high average on base percentage type players that will eventually hit for some power.
And the JUCO transfers, I think Stanley Tucker and Travis Chestnut, offensively, they can definitely carve out a role even in this veteran-led group, because Tuck's got a little bit of juice, plenty of sock in the bat for a smaller guy, and then I've had multiple people, Coach, tell me that Travis Chestnut's speed's game-changing.
Yeah. Stanley obviously has a skill set of being able to play infield and outfield, gap-to-gap hitter, really good JUCO career. He's definitely going to have a role for us. And then, yes, Travis Chestnut's speed is, I think I've only seen a couple of times on a baseball field. I don't know if you were there the other day where there's a pass ball and he went second to home and scored.
Wow.
But yeah, it's just a different. I want just more depth and more options on this year's team offensively, where you didn't have, whether Chestnut's starting or not, you didn't have a guy you could bring in or a guy that was in the game that's probably a 6'2", 60 runner, and Stanley's not too far behind him. So just a little more depth in general on the offensive side, or you call it depth, you could call it different options, things you can do that coach will be able to play with.
Super excited to see y'all get after it tomorrow, Coach, early. Appreciate you stopping in on the show, buddy.
Are you going to be there all 18, or what?
That's the plan, dude. You know me. I'm a junkie. I'll be out there all day.
All right, man. I'll see you out there. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. That's Texas A&M hitting coach Michael Early joining us here on TexAgs Radio. When we come back, we'll go around Aggieland with Kay Nagley. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Right back on the other side of the break.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Blinn Bryan Theater Troupe opens its season with the Baltimore Waltz. Performances run October 13th through the 16th. Tickets are online at blinn.edu/box office. The Brazos Civic Orchestra presents a free concert on Sunday, October 16th at 5 p.m. at Rudder High School Auditorium. BCS Habitat for Humanity is hosting its 6th annual Candidates Build, bringing together candidates for local, state, and federal office to work on a habitat home. If you're running for office, come out on Friday, October 21st. Contact Habitat BCS for more information. Applications are now open for this year's Salvation Army Angel Tree Christmas Assistance Program, which is open to families with children 12 and under. Apply online at saangeltree.org. You can listen to Jimbo Fisher live from Aggie Football Media Day every Monday at 2 p.m. thanks to T-Mobile, the official 5G provider of the SEC. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
Right now we're talking about Big Shots Golf Aggieland, Anthem Kitchen and Bar. The restaurant inside of Big Shots is awesome. A sports bar built for every single fan out there. It's your new favorite hangout with plenty of seating for your entire crew, and it's delicious food out there. Some truly next-level scratch-cooked menu items on there. Big Shots Golf brings the fun each day with the dual and piano events, trivia nights, a weekday happy hour, and so much more. Going on the back, let you know what's going on for this weekend. All right, we've got Friday Night live music and live play challenge with prizes. You've got It's Game Day Baby, Saturday and Sunday, and it's Cheer on the Ags every Saturday and NFL Sunday Ticket every Sunday. And while you're at it, the Crush Brunch at 9 a.m. to 2 o'clock, Sunday through Thursday, reverse happy hour, all the time happy hour favorites, late nights there at Big Shots Golf, Anthem Kitchen and Bar. Visit the website, anthem.bigshotsgolf.com to learn more.
Keyshawn Johnson, Jay Williams, and Max Kellerman.
Right now, the Vikings are the best team. They're clearly the best team in the NFC North at this moment, right?
moment.
Okay. Lions just got shut out. So as good as their offenses looked at times, we're not going to put them with the Vikings right now. And the Packers just lost to the Giants. They have a game with the Jets. Don't let them lose that game. But even if they win, we're going to say Vikings are the best team, I think, clearly in the NFC North right now. However, when I look at what is on the Packers, and because a lot of this is you're trying to, it's calculus. Calculus is like figuring out the rate of change, right? So you see what's there, how much experience they have, how much talent they have, who they're with, who's the coaching staff, who's the quarterback, and you make a projection about where they're going to be at the end of the season. By the end of this regular season, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl this year. I like them in the NFC North better than the Vikings.
Listen in to Key, J. Will, and Max, powered by WC Tractor from 5 to 8 on the Zone.
Been having a ball since I was a boy in Beaumont. I love that town, but I just couldn't stay.
You know, I almost got this tattooed on me, Kay.
Really?
The chorus of this song.
What is it?
Blame it on Texas, don't blame it on me.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's a really good life motto.
Well, you're too young to probably know. Steve Nagley's probably a big fan of Mark Chestnut.
I don't know. I really, because
Is
he
not a
would
country
normally culture me on all the old country songs, but I don't know if I've ever heard that name before. I don't know. Maybe just more mediocre stuff.
Here's what I'm going to say is that you have forgotten it.
Yeah.
Because I'm not going to put that on Steve's plate. You know, that's definitely your
fault.
We're
not blaming it on Steve. It's definitely on me.
Yeah, Kay Nagley is at the desk. We're about to go around Aggieland, courtesy of Normandy State Bank. For rock solid banking, visit normandystatebank.com. Kay.
So, first of all, as everybody knows, no Aggie football this weekend. So the Aggies have reached a bye in Week 7 before they head to South Carolina on the road next week. I know a lot of fans are excited for that game, but more importantly, some Aggie baseball is back around. Texas A&M Aggies will play one of 2 exhibition matches at Olin Field at Bluebell Park on Saturday. The Aggies will host Lamar at 1 p.m., and admission to that game is free. I'm sure Bronny will have a grand old time over there on Saturday.
I love going to the ballpark.
I
and
know
then,
you
like,
do.
without the stress of having to watch Aggie football.
Yeah.
It's like going to be a perfect Saturday.
It's just going to be a perfect fall. Weather should be decent. I
feel like may go to the pumpkin patch and take some photos. Get a pumpkin spice latte.
Like once October hits, like the white girl trends. This is like your version of
yes. This is
Saturday.
My pumpkin spice latte. Is Saturday at Olin Field.
Going and carving pumpkins and doing the whole shebang.
Maybe me and Schloss will carve a pumpkin.
I think that would be awesome, honestly. Continuing, Texas A&M soccer looks to stay undefeated in October when they host the Auburn Tigers. In tonight's 7 p.m. contest on Ellis Field, the event is also part of Texas A&M's 50 years of Title IX celebration. They will salute 30 years of Aggie soccer with nearly 100 A&M standouts from the past expected to be in attendance.
Whoa, that's pretty cool.
Reunion participants will be honored at halftime, so that's a great celebration they're having. Lastly, Buzz Williams and the 2022 Texas A&M basketball squad will be well represented at upcoming SEC Media Days set for October 18th and 19th next week.
Where's that at? Do we know where that's at?
It is in Birmingham. OB will be there. Tyrese Radford and Henry Coleman will be alongside Buzz Williams. Also joining them is Joni Taylor and the women's basketball team.
She's been recruiting her tail off.
Yeah, she has
got
been.
was it national top 50 player in the country from Mansfield, and then they're in on a couple other 5-stars?
Right when she joined A&M, she was already on the recruiting trail hard. I mean,
I think she's going to be really good.
I do too. I'm excited about that. And she is bringing Elia Patty along and Sydney Roby. And yeah, like I said, they are going to be in Birmingham next week.
Henry Coleman will be good for some quotes out there.
Oh, he's a quote machine.
Yeah, he's so much fun to be around, and Boots will be good, and obviously Buzz will be. I mean, You could get a philosophy book in one sit down.
Absolutely. You could just start writing and write a whole entire book on things that he says.
Anything else?
So that's it.
That's it?
That's it.
What are you
That's all.
doing this weekend?
I am attending the Texas Rose Festival in
Oh.
Tyler. So my roommate is a lady in waiting. Apparently it's a whole shebang. Like it's a whole like the.
We should have Olin on here to
wedding
talk about
gowns
this East
and
Texas stuff.
we
Is
were
a
talking
lady
about
in
it.
waiting different than a lady of the night?
I don't know. what
That
the
would be two
difference
references to
is.
that in one show, by the way.
You're welcome.
No, I think there's like a main girl. I really don't know a lot, but it's apparently
Sounds like
a huge
is it a
deal.
pageant?
It's like they dress up in these extravagant.
Somebody from East Texas text in or
dresses that
tweet us.
These designers have built these extravagant dresses like all summer apparently, and
So is it like a expo? What is it?
So Friday night there's like a nice dinner. So me and all my roommates are going, so we have to wear these nice dresses. And
So it's not like a county fair thing.
No, and then Saturday morning there's a parade. So they're like on these floats, like strapped into these little like Barbie things.
Mm-hmm.
They can't move, pretty much, is what I've been hearing. And they're in these dresses, and then there's a tea, and then that night we're supposed to wear like prom dresses.
Yeah.
So it's like apparently a pretty big deal. I've never been. It should
So
be pretty
is there like
exciting.
live music?
I have no idea what's going on. Like
Is
it's
it
a
like a
pretty.
proper
There's different
ball?
events. So I think the Saturday night event is like a ball type like event because they're wearing these big extravagant.
So you got to dress like
things.
you're going to prom
Yes, I had to buy basically a prom dress for Saturday.
and
So
drive to Tyler to do it.
I do. I'm leaving after my test next in my class afternoon. So
Dalton, have you looked any of this up? Or are you not? do
it's
you
like
not care?
if y'all look it up, like please do, because these dresses apparently are just so extravagant. And my dad is also from Tyler area. He's from Bullard.
So okay. So Steve hasn't even told you what this is?
He knows like kind of the premise of it, but he didn't really ever pay attention. to
Here's the
it.
thing: you don't pay attention to your dad.
No,
Guarantee you
I
he's
do.
told you,
I swear. I literally called him last night. So
and he didn't know.
he knows what it is, but I don't think there's like a way you can describe it, honestly. Like my roommate literally said it's like you're going
Well, if
to
it's
like
up
a
to
really
you.
extravagant wedding.
And she's from Tyler.
Yes, she's from Bullard. So
is
it's
your
like,
dad.
Boy, I found some pictures.
See?
You got.
It's
what do you-
like
you got time to
these-
put them up, Dalton?
Yeah, hold on. I'm going as fast as I can.
it's like these extravagant dresses. They have these headpieces on.
Like wedding dresses or bigger?
They're like these blue. Like my roommate's theme is water.
Like Victorian.
So she has to.
dresses.
It's like big. Like there's like stuff underneath to
Is
make
there
it
like
all
a
go out.
what do they
and-
call them where they suck in?
Yeah, like corsets
Corset,
and all
yeah.
of the above. Yeah, it's nuts. Apparently, they have this extravagant makeup. I don't know. I'm really excited. It should be interesting, but I'm also not.
I
Gonna
bet
really,
we'll see pictures.
Oh yeah, we'll see pictures. I'm also not going to be able to watch college football, and I'm really upset about that.
Just put it
That's
on
like
your
the
phone.
second weekend of that for you.
I know, and I have another wedding coming up. What
You're
is
real
with
committed.
this?
Fall weddings.
I know.
Divorce them as friends. Thanks for coming in, Kay.
Of course.
We come
always.
back. Steve McKinney in the final hour of TexAgs Radio, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I, Louis Bellina, am inviting you to be a part of the Bellucci Hour, brought to you by Dos Equis, each and every Thursday, 1 p.m., a part of the Louis Bellina Show. The Bellucci Hour, brought to you by Dos Equis. Enjoy college football this season with your friends and a cool, refreshing Dos Equis lager. Get a dose. It's the Bellucci Hour, a part of the Louis Bellina Show, brought to you by B&B Automotive and Superior Auto Service.
At a time when misinformation is all too common on social media, we take great pride in bringing you the news that matters, that impacts your family, news you can trust. Local broadcast journalists bring you the facts, covering the stories breaking in our community and across the globe. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on local journalism. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
You love beer, steak, Aggie football, and your community. Hang out with Louis Bellina, weekdays 11 to 2 on the Zone 1150 AM and 93.7 FM. This is KZNE, College Station Bryan.
WTAW, this is a news update on the Zone. College Station Mayor Carl Mooney announced during last night's City Council meeting that Fujifilm Diosynth Biotechnologies, the largest employer in the Baja corridor, is breaking ground on another expansion the week after next.
Fuji on October 25th is going to be breaking ground for another $330 million addition.
Mooney's comments preceded council approval to rename the street through the Fujifilm campus from Biomedical Way to Fujifilm Way. The owner of College Station's Hullabaloo Diner tells the city council he's looking for a place to show more than 500 pieces of entertainment artifacts.
I've collected movie props and wardrobes since the 1960s.
Eric Schulte says he could fill 10 to 20,000 square feet in what he's calling the Museum of Grand Junk. Because Schulte spoke during the public comment portion of last night's council meeting, the governing body could not respond to his offer. No additional information has been released by Texas A&M officials from yesterday's bomb threat that led to the evacuation of Kyle Field and the Bright football complex. A&M police say an anonymous call was received at the Technology Services Help Desk that made reference to the stadium. Those involved in the 2.5-hour search included A&M police and 3 UPD canines that specialize in explosive detection. An inmate at the Brazos County Jail was sexually assaulted last weekend. Yesterday, the sheriff's office announced the arrest of 3 inmates, 17-year-old Devin Newton of Caldwell, 17-year-old Tavares Lyles, and 18-year-old Fidel Sanchez Jr. of Bryan, all charged with aggravated sexual assault. Newton also charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon and sexual coercion. Sanchez also charged with sexual coercion and assault causing bodily injury. A news release from the sheriff's office states that an administrative investigation is underway to review policies, procedures, actions, and training to ensure that every possible measure is being taken to prevent sexual assault and harassment. That's news on the Zone.
From Bryan Broadcasting, Destination Bryan, and ABC Home and Commercial Services, you're invited to Halloween Town in downtown. A fun, free, and safe trick-or-treating experience for the whole family. Join us in downtown Bryan on Friday, October 28th from 4 p.m. until candy runs out. There will be a photo booth sponsored by Brazos Valley Orthodontics, a costume contest sponsored by Smith Dairy Queens, and lots of candy stations for trick-or-treating. Special thanks to our treat sponsors, Multilingual Academy, Gold Star Barber Studios, Play Oasis, Vibes Salon Studio, and Greening Law Group. Don't miss this free outdoor Halloween celebration for all ages. Brought to you by Bryan Broadcasting, Destination Bryan, and ABC Home and Commercial Services, specialists for your environment. For award-winning AC and heating service for your home, visit abchomeandcommercial.com. Make your plans for Halloween Town in downtown, Friday, October 28th, starting at 4 p.m.
Good morning, sports fans. I'm Zach Taylor with your Aggie Sports Minute on the Zone. This Sports Minute is brought to you by Hoco Metal Roofing and Supply. Call 936-825-0500 or click HocoSupply.com. Texas A&M football had to cancel practice yesterday due to a bomb threat made for Kyle Field. Now, the threat came in at around 1:25 p.m., forcing athletes and staff to evacuate the Bright football complex. Following a search, an all clear was given around 3:49 p.m. The Aggies are in a bye this week before hitting the road for South Carolina on October 22nd. A&M women's soccer is back in action this evening as it welcomes Auburn to town. First kick is at 7 o'clock at Ellis Field. Men's tennis heads to Baylor today for the ITA Texas Regional with match play. Things get underway this morning in Waco with doubles teams action. Men's and women's cross country host the Arturo Barrios Invitational tomorrow. Competition begins at 9 a.m. at the Watts Course. And A&M baseball kicks off its exhibition slate Saturday against Lamar. Coach Jim Schlossnagel on the returning leadership from last season's College World Series team.
Getting all those guys back, specifically Werner, Boast, and Minnick, along with Targach and Jack Moss. If you watch practice, you have so many different points during the course of practice where you'll see peer instruction going on. And, man, that's really cool, and that's really awesome.
Schloss and the guys take on Lamar tomorrow at 1 p.m. at Bluebell Park. And that's been your Aggie Sports Minute, brought to you by Hoco Metal Roofing and Supply. On the Zone, I'm Zach Taylor.
This is Daryl from Columbus, previously from the Paul Feinbaum Show.
You're a Tennessee alumni, and you want so badly to beat Alabama. I know. I mean, it's been 15 years? 2006.
But I'm gonna
Not that I'm keeping track. I'm still hoping for a victory. October 17th, but, 2006 at 6:14 p.m. in the afternoon.
It's the Paul Feinbaum Show, powered by Polaris Fun Center, 2 to 4 weekdays on the Zone.
Nobody in his right mind would have left her. That was her
10 o'clock hour, TexAgs Radio, final hour of the show of the week. I'm Ryan Brauninger sitting in the big chair today. David Nuno out on vacation. He will be back on Monday. We're inside the Rollo Insurance Studios, and I've got a quick little thing to read that was sent to me by David Nuno. I should have got to it earlier. It's my fault. The Warehouse at CC Creations. You've seen a lot of this stuff on social media recently. The Warehouse at CC Creations is hosting a fan appreciation signing this Saturday. They'll be hosting 14 signature athletes and their fans for a 2-hour exclusive autograph signing event starting at 2 o'clock and running from 4 o'clock. That's right there off of Welborn and Holloman at CC Creations. The event is free of charge, but on a first-come, first-served basis with signings concluding promptly at 4 p.m. So if you're going to do the Aggie baseball thing tomorrow, starts at 1, go watch Slosh and the boys for a little bit, then go over to CC Creations. I've got the list of athletes, a lot of football guys here. Devon Achane, Jalen Jones, Damani Richardson, Tyreek Chappelle, Anaya Smith, Chase Lane, Haynes King, Connor Wigman, Walter Nolan, Anthony Lucas, Shamar Stewart, Fadil Diggs, Cam Dewberry, and Denver Harris. Welcome in former Texas A&M and NFL offensive lineman Steve McKinney, who's made some time.
Yeah. I'm the only one that showed up to work today.
Oh! Billy came into Stone Cold Steve Austin's music and then spit water everywhere after telling us he wasn't coming in.
Oh, well.
Did you know he was coming?
I actually did.
You're lying. That's pretty good, though. I wish you would have done the water better. You should have come in with your Rey Mysterio Jr. mask. That would have been like a luchador. That would have been sick.
Man.
Okay,
I didn't know
deal.
Steve was in studio.
Yeah.
You know, Slarth canceled because he had golf.
You mean the Walrus?
Yeah. I call him Slarth, but
Slarth. That's a good name.
I couldn't
for him,
believe
too.
it.
I call him Clark.
He responded and said, I got golf.
What is it, a member guest somewhere?
He said, I got golf. I didn't even respond.
What you don't know,
Steve's in.
Bronny, that Steve knows better than anyone, and then I'm a close second, is when Seth, embarks upon something or gets really into something, it becomes one of the more obsessive things you'll ever see.
He gets weirdly upset. I remember one time we went fishing. We went to Alaska fishing, salmon fishing, and one of the guides had a fly rod. Mm-hmm. And Seth spent 7 days trying to learn how to fly fish for salmon. I'm like, and I'm over here just, using my bait cash, just catching. He's over here trying to learn for 7 days. Caught like one little fish the whole time. I'm like, what? Why didn't you just fish like a normal person?
Seth, you should have come in. You could have defended yourself. Well, I'm glad you came in, Luce, because I did want to get to some stuff with Steve, and then I think you'll have a lot of information on how this thing looks going forward. But last Saturday, just your overall thoughts on the effort, first of all, and then we'll kind of get into some specifics maybe.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it was pretty nice to see the team respond the way they did because I think all of us were unsure. I know you listened to the show Friday. I don't think any of us were very confident that was going to be a close game. I know I wasn't. But they did go out there and they responded. The defense really did a nice job keeping them in check. I mean, it helped that Milroe was the quarterback, because it made them a little bit one-dimensional. But getting after the passer, Fadil Diggs just really showed up, made some nice sacks and fumbles. Getting the turnovers were key. And then us actually converting and scoring on those turnovers. Offensively, it would have been nice to see a little bit better drives. But we did at least capitalize on the turnovers to keep us in the game. I think overall, great effort. You got to love that we were on the 2-yard line with a chance to beat the number 1 team at their house and just came up, a foot short. Is pretty exciting. But again, I don't think we should be celebrating moral victories at this point where we are as a program. But considering the way the season's gone, considering how young this team is, you have to look at it and feel good about the direction it's heading.
Was it 3rd youngest team in college football, Billy? I think somebody said.
Yeah.
And
it's crazy.
And added Cam Dewberry to that mix, and that's where I wanted kind of Steve, and I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah.
In terms of what you were asking him to do.
Sounded like he didn't agree with you there.
What about
Olin? We'll call him OL. Must stand for O-line because he didn't agree with you. He
about
Dewberry looked okay.
He knew who to block and was
for a freshman. Thought he looked good. For a freshman, I mean, you have to put it in perspective.
Exactly.
Right? He's not a 3rd-year starter. He's a true freshman
playing his first game
against Alabama.
Yeah.
So if you put that into perspective,
well, also compare it to what we've seen at that position this year.
Yeah,
that's the other thing you have to do.
Yeah. So I mean, the kid's got a lot of potential. We can leave it at that and say, he's going to be a good one.
Billy, do you think that he's got the inside track to start now at South Carolina?
I wouldn't say inside. I think he will start at South Carolina.
Assuming everybody's healthy.
Yeah, I think he would, because look, you either move your backup center there in Wyckoff, who I thought he looked better than Wyckoff in that game. Plus, there's, you guys, we all know the value of Wyckoff being the backup center that started several games now at center. And then, I kind of feel like with Aggie, I would kind of want to look a little more into, because when you look on this campus still, now P.J. Williams is a guy that everybody thinks is going to be really good, but Dewberry's an interior guy, Naboo's an interior guy, Herb's probably an interior guy. I want to look and see where are you going to find other tackles? You've got Crownover, but clearly they thought playing Aggie out there was a better option than Crownover at this point. So he's still a next year at the earliest.
I don't think Chase Basantis comes in and
from
plays
day one. Yeah, that's tough. And so you're looking at next year, and I'm going, who are your tackles? And you go Deuce, you go Zune, and then I want at least 4. And it might be, between Aggie, Crownover, and PJ, you'll feel good about having 4.
Yeah.
So maybe you let him work more there if Dewberry is good enough to start, and you go from there, and you'll get Moko back next year. So right now, I would be excited about if they continue to work Aggie at tackle, and he's a guy that if Dewberry were struggling, you could just put Aggie in. You know what I think they're going to do? I think they're going to continue this rotation thing that we've seen almost all year, and I think they're going to rotate Dewberry and Aggie. Yeah. That would be my prediction.
Well, Steve, you said during the break that it's easier mentally to play tackle.
Yeah.
Because guard, you're having to pass stuff off, and what have we seen be successful against this A&M O-line? They've run a ton of games against them.
Right.
And that's where I thought Dewberry was good, right? Like, he knew who to block.
Yeah, it is a challenge, especially a young player, because when you're in high school, first of all, you're not going to get the type of blitzes that you're going to see in college, and at least not at that speed, right? And performed as efficiently as they will in college. So there is a big adjustment, and it takes time, and that's why you generally see our lines, at least, because they're young. They're always young the last couple of years. They start out early in the season struggling because they're playing these teams that do a lot of movement, and they just haven't seen it. They haven't worked it enough as a group together. And then as the season progresses, you start to see them improve. And we've seen that the last 2 years. And unfortunately, the 2 worst positions to be young on your football team is your offensive line and your defensive line. And we're young at both of those.
Especially in this league.
You can make up for it with, freshmen, sophomore skill guys. Those translate a little quicker. But offense and defensive line, if you're going in there with, several of your starters being true freshmen or even redshirt freshmen, you're already behind the 8 ball. You're gonna struggle early in the season.
Yeah.
But tackle is a position where, probably 70% of the time you're blocking the guy in front of you. Whereas guard, you could be pulling, you could be kicking out, you could be blocking down, blocking out to the end, passing off twists.
Double teams.
There's more movement inside. There's more things, more people you have to work with on double teams with the center and the guard. So it does take a little bit longer, I think, to learn.
Well, and you've seen the freshman defensive lineman, Billy. I think they've taken huge steps forward. Yeah. Especially against Bama. I thought late they really started playing well.
Well, that to me, look, those guys. That was my most encouraging thing about the game Saturday. It's like, and people don't understand, and you've got people on Twitter, you've got the contrarian Aggie that just wants to, and you've got a lot of angry Aggies just like, it's still a loss. And it's like he gets that better than anybody. You get that as an athlete. I get that having covered this stuff my whole life and just being a competitor. Everybody understands that. We don't need you to tell us that what we're thinking when we're trying to find a positive out of a loss. It's not a moral victory. It is, and yes, the A&M program should be at a much better point than it is today in terms of their record this season. I'm very disappointed with the lack of just in this many years, like a star quarterback being produced in this system when you see him everywhere. I'm very frustrated with all the stuff like the burning of timeouts, the not taking the timeout late against Arkansas, 12 men on the field that almost cost you a win against Alabama, the back-to-back false starts, the not being alert enough to try to get those seconds back at the end of the game that they cost you. You could have had 2 plays.
Mm-hmm.
All those things I'm very frustrated with, and I think that's a big part of why they are 3-3. I'm frustrated with losing to Mississippi State.
3-5 in their last 8.
Yeah, well, that and Ole Miss, period. And that's what got Sumlin. That was a big part of why Coach Sumlin didn't make it, and nothing's really changed on that front. So now you'll get a big crack at that in a couple weeks, because I think you're going to get a top 5, 6, 7 Ole Miss team coming in here that's not that good. They're beatable.
Certainly, yeah.
They're absolutely beatable at Kyle Field. You're going to have to beat South Carolina to get these fans here and amped. If you do that, that's a winnable.
And that one's turning out to be a little trickier than we thought.
No
too.
doubt, no doubt.
Is it?
Hold on. Let's talk about that in a second. But I'm going to tell you about Bama. The most encouraging thing was going out and coming out of that game and playing them for 60 minutes. I don't care if it's Bryce Young, if it's Steve Young, if it's Steve Martin. Like, the way A&M played, they played Bama toe-to-toe. And the only difference, and people like Joel Klatt saying, well, they played them one-handed. They just lined up and ran it down their throat. The game came down to a final play, man. Like, at least if you're going to be this Fox Sports.
But they did it the previous week against Arkansas. No, he didn't say a thing.
Exactly. They just rolled through Arkansas with Milroe. Just humiliated Sam Pittman, slick Sammy Pittman, and the great Barry Odom. But then it doesn't matter because he struggled against A&M. And by the way, Alabama just lining up and running it is pretty formidable. And if they do that to Tennessee, I'd listen to you and Olin. And I think, Tennessee wins with Milroe. But Milroe is a tough assignment. The dude, when he gets to running, and you can shake your head or whatever, but I've had the players on that A&M team sit in that chair.
I know what kind of athlete he is. I covered him.
Yeah.
Like, he's
so he is
athlete,
a tough assignment. Now, I'll also tell you this. Bryce Young doesn't run. Bryce Young would have gotten them out of managed the game so much better that Bama, I think, would have pulled away, gotten up by those 2 scores. Instead of 10, it's 14, and then they kick a field goal. That's what Bryce would have done. But Milroe's tough now. And I think in his second start against that bad defense. But here's the biggest thing to me was just simply Alabama, like they went toe-to-toe, and all those freshmen. It made me think of this, Steve. We're at that point in the season. I had that moment where I go, okay, they're not freshmen anymore. They've played enough football.
Yeah, certainly.
Now, Dewberry's a different one. But like you said, that whole D-line, Evan, Chris Marshall, Donovan Green, Jared Kerr, Kobe, Denver, all those guys, they're not freshmen anymore. And not only that, but imagine how different things were from when they walked onto that field Saturday night to when they walked off. That's the most encouraging thing to me of anything.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I mean, you're at that point in the season where these guys have played enough. And I've been there. I've experienced it as a college football player, but especially as a rookie in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And, that first quarter of the season, you're just trying to survive out there.
Yeah.
You're trying to get through the game without getting the quarterback
Drinking
killed.
out of a fire hose, yeah.
Exactly. Your things are going 100 miles an hour, and then the game just starts to slow down.
Well, let's look ahead to South Carolina when we come back, because they're on a bye too, and I think there's some talking points already being coming out there. On the other side of the break, more with Steve McKinney and Billy Lish. You're listening to TexAgs Radio, represented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. Texas A&M Health Science Center students invite the community to the Big Health Event, a free health fair on Saturday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Sue Haswell Park. Health screenings, education, medication reviews, and more. Wiener Spiel is October 15th and 16th at Wolfpen Creek Amphitheater, Wiener Dog and wannabe Wiener Dog races, and more. Visit wienerspiel.org for more information. Our Savior's Lutheran Church invites you to their annual Fall Festival on Sunday, October 16th from 4 to 7 p.m. Proceeds benefit Twin City Mission and the Boy Scouts of America. The BCS Chamber of Commerce Candidates Forum for Bryan candidates is Monday, October 17th from 6 to 8 at the Brazos Center. Listen to the forum on 1620-94.5 or online at radioaggieland.com. Win your Texas Renaissance Festival tickets every Monday on the Louis Bellina Show and every Wednesday at zone1150.com thanks to Bud Light. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
We are now talking about the Association of Former Students. who have been around for over 140 years, and your financial gifts have empowered them to be here, to be there, to be everywhere. They've certainly done that by continuously giving to Aggie situations, Aggie groups, scholarships, student assistant programs, Aggie bands, silver taps, ring day, class reunion, muster, tailgate, traveling Aggies. That is what the association does. And but if you ever thought about their why, and I know I've told you, but if you actually think about why they do the things that they do, you are a part of that story. That is why they've created IamTheWhy.com, which gives you basically the mission statement for the Association of Former Students. They're doing it for people just like you. And you can go upload your story right now on IamTheWhy.com. Go do it from Tuscaloosa if you're going to the game. How about that? Go show your Aggie love there from Tuscaloosa and upload it on IamTheWhy.com. It's a place of a collection of stories of Aggie unique perspectives from current students, former students all around the globe. You should go check it out. IamTheWhy.com. Again, that is IamTheWhy.com.
Get ready, Brazos Valley. Wiener Dog races are back. Join us October 15th and 16th for Wiener Spiel's annual Wiener Dog and Wannabe races and more at Wolfpen Creek. Don't forget to dress up your pup to compete in the costume contest. This event is free to the public and proceeds benefit local nonprofits that help homeless, unwanted, and neglected animals. Visit wienerspiel.org to register your dog and for more information on sponsorships and become a vendor.
Everything in life has rules, and the Zone has prize rules for all contesting. You can check them out at zone1150.com. You may know you can win once every 30 days. There can only be one winner per household per month. You have 30 days to pick up your prizes. You have to be 18 or older to win. You have to present a legal ID to claim your prize. All prizes are non-transferable and not for resale. To make sure you do know all the rules, or if you have any questions about the prize rules, make sure to visit zone1150.com.
Zone1150.com.
Oh, it's the Skinny with Steve McKinney. He's playing it right now. Inside Skinny with Steve McKinney. I'd never heard it before.
Ronnie had never heard of it, dude.
I thought he was talking about some kind of stunt twist game y'all were working on last week in here.
He thought it was a defensive line move.
You should have seen
Inside
him
Skinny.
snapping last week.
I saw the video. Oh, he was snapping?
Seth was snapping.
Dead snapping?
We were working on our different dead snaps. By the way, the snaps were a lot better.
Yeah, they were.
They were a lot better. Good
Yep.
thing he went back to his old dead snap
Did he?
style. Yeah.
Well, Billy, so South Carolina on a bye. We talked about it before the break, and I don't know if you've seen on Twitter this morning, another one of their insiders has reports that Haynes King won't play.
These guys are dumbasses in that regard. And
Well, fill us in, Mr. Insider.
Well, here's the thing. Haynes is he's trying to practice. They're having to hold him back, really.
That sounds
like he
about
tried
right.
to go out there the
Well,
other
remember
day.
when
He
he
went
had
out there.
COVID and he was just watching from the
He
back
went
of
out
his
there
truck?
for tried
his
to go
boot.
the
He
other
had his
day.
boot on at practice.
He tried to go and they were like, from what my understanding, basically like, no, just go back and put the boot back on. So because there's no reason. It's what I wrote the other day. Other than Haynes, the
only reason is you don't want your backup getting reps.
And
that's the reason.
And I get it exactly. Haynes doesn't want to give that job up. I mean, that's why he hung in there against Bama for not but I'm saying that competitive side of him.
Sure, I understand that.
He's like, I already gave it up because I broke my leg. Then y'all took it from me, and he was underperformed. But in the competitor's mind, I gave it up. Y'all took it, however he wants to view it. Another time, I'm not letting it happen again. So he's trying to fight through it. The reality is he doesn't need to practice. There's no reason. And you said like he's sitting there watching his backup get reps, and it's like, gosh, no, if he starts, then do I get my job back again? So, but for his sake, there's no reason for him to practice. You've probably had turf toe.
If he was a 2-year starter, sure.
Yeah.
But he's like a 2-game starter.
Yeah.
So he's going to do everything unless they force him not to practice.
And I think
he's
that's
gonna try to
what's
practice.
happening right now for his sake. But that has nothing to do with next week yet. I mean, like it makes no sense to put him out there 4 days after playing Bama in a bye week.
I don't typically go search out every year what South Carolina is saying about A&M in the weeks leading up prior to the game. They are extremely confident.
Yeah, they think it's a win. It's done.
Yes.
It's done deal.
I've never seen them like this, and it's because last week they go on the road and they get a freshman quarterback at Kentucky. And really, if you go back and watch that game, it was closer than what the final score
Well, didn't
when
they
say
score on
flatter
like
to deceive?
They gave
like,
him a touchdown like the first play,
right.
basically.
And so I think that's what their line of thinking is. Okay, we're going to get
Another
A&M home
freshman.
at night with a freshman quarterback.
Okay, and you're right, but they're right, and I'm right in that all those things you just said are, especially if it's Wigman, who's never played, and if it's Haynes, who still hasn't played a great game and is going to be slowed at the minimum, right? It sets up very nicely for South Carolina if you take your giant oversized A&M hat off.
This is 12 hat.
Oh, damn. Well, same thing.
Is it oversized? It's pretty good.
It's just the
you
white.
always told me about how tight
It's
my
the
hats
white.
are.
It's
Is
the
that
white.
are y'all
White.
sponsored by A&M?
No,
they
actually,
steal their.
How do y'all just use their branding?
Okay, we're not going to go into
Oh,
that.
they've changed the
No.
teal. It looks like they're stealing from the Rangers.
For a
to
couple
me.
of years, our jerseys were out first, and then A&M's comes
Oh,
out.
yeah.
You're the one that asked.
We're playing in that gray area of
Yeah.
trademark infringement.
Sounds like
it. We're
So,
testing
no,
them.
white hats are always really. They look bigger
So
on TV.
if Hunter Goodwin wore a pair of white pants,
oh my God, he'd fly away on a magic carpet. A Ladwin. A Ladwin.
I love it.
So one day Hunter really is going to burst in here because now that he's like Mr. Workaholic. I've actually had dinner with him the last 2 nights, which is shocking, and it's been like after his long day of work, late at night. And I sat at Gringo's yesterday so you've got Luby's Schlossnagel.
Luby's.
He like wants to eat at 5 o'clock. So I leave the gym at 4:30, and I'm like, well, I mean, I guess I'll just go right here. It's right there. The Astros are still on.
he's going to text you about
So I go over there at 4:35, and I'm there from 4. Then Hunter calls. He's like, "Hey, you want to go eat?" And I told him I was going to buy him dinner for his birthday, and the night before it was so late that we just went into somewhere quick. So I was like, "Okay, come on." So I waited. Slosh leaves. Hunter sits in the same seat. Then 2 friends of mine from here in town that I know show up, and they're like, "Oh, come sit with us." So I go after Hunter leaves at 8:30. I go sit with them and have some sopapillas. So it's like I'm there and
6 hours in a restaurant.
Oh my God!
Just switching tables.
It was unbelievable.
Lucha, dude. His whole life revolves around lunch and dinners.
It's my social. That's why I get being stuck here with
It
you
was.
guys. That's why I came in
COVID was
today.
tough, even after it was over, because you couldn't go to lunch anywhere.
Because Lucci got weird there for a bit.
Yeah, well, that was like you knew that
He was
was
getting a little
coming.
weird.
How long have you known me?
A long time.
Don't double dip.
Yeah.
Don't cough on me.
Put the new microphone on.
Don't breathe on me.
I didn't even try to come by and see him. I was like,
all
you don't wanna
those
see
things,
nobody.
and then you're like, oh, hey. I'm like, God dang it. Like, what could we create?
The only thing that helps
from
me
this?
is I'm married to the female version of Lucci when it comes to
no.
germs. So
You always say I was like Seinfeld. Don't double dip the chip.
I gotta. How you couldn't have been like that when you lived with him and like Dan.
Yeah, I was, which is
Kinda,
weird.
Yeah, like they would feel like they would.
The
more
best
like
story-
the college version of a germaphobe.
Yeah, like there's the best story. I'll tell you this is so we lived in an upstairs, downstairs, and the only bathrooms were upstairs. Weird setup.
It was so
I'm glad we got evicted from there on your credit. But
Thank
Steve's
you.
in the NFL. He's
Yeah.
like, dude, what?
My credits. What's
still
wrong?
under my name?
I
We're
couldn't
like,
even get an American Express my rookie year. I applied for American Express. They turned me down because my credit was so low. I'm like, I didn't even have credit. And they're like, well, sir, you have some down payments at Stonebridge Apartments. Like, wait, what?
He calls us. We're like, oh,
Lucci, did you guys pay the damn gas bill?
no, we don't even live there anymore. We got thrown out.
Thanks,
Because
Luch.
Dan threw Shea Holder through the wall, and there's a 6'6", 310-pound hole in the wall. It looked like the Grimace had burst through it. It looked like the Kool-Aid Man had come through the wall.
Oh, my.
But anyway, there was 2 upstairs bathrooms, nothing downstairs, and we'd all just hang out downstairs and watch TV, sit around the living room. Well, these yahoos, not just him and Dan, but everyone else all our buddies. You know where they'd pee?
Steve.
Where?
You didn't piss in the sink.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody, not just Steve.
Yeah, it wasn't just me.
No, everybody.
In the sink.
It was the communal. It was our powder
So
bath
wait,
downstairs.
Bronny. So I'm sitting there, and what do you think I do? My germaphobe, but I go get plastic and paper bowls, and because back then all you really ate at home was like cereal and ramen. Nobody cooked cereal or ramen or whatever. So I had these plastic silverware and paper bowls. And one day Dan is like, I'm sitting there. He's like, hey, he's like, man, he's like, when are you going to do the dishes? And I go, what? He goes, man, I know that's why you bought all that paper and plastic stuff so you wouldn't have to do dishes. He's like, that's kind of bull, you know how Dan is kind of bull. And I said, this is serious or y'all like, is this a joke? Why would it be? It's just not right, man. Like everybody's doing the dishes.
Take your turn, Luch.
I go, yeah. I'm like, ask me who's not peeing on the dishes and ask me why you think I would ever eat out of those dishes.
So it didn't matter that there was stuff in the sink.
No.
Still urinate.
No. And here's the other thing.
I mean, you're going to wash them anyway.
Bronny, here's the other thing they do. During the summer, Bronny, they'd go work out, come home, and wear, gray shorts, gray shirt. Like that was, in the 90s, everything.
Yeah, shimmy shirts.
Shimmy shirt, like A&M. They'd come home, and because they'd go back and work out twice a day. There you go. Like real old school football player. No. But like real football players. Go in the morning, go back in the heat of the day. But in the meantime, in the interim, I had 3 roommates that would hang their wet shorts, jock strap, undershirt along the ceiling fan blades throughout the house to dry them out.
Yeah. We would just jump in the swimming pool.
Yeah.
And then
just hang them from the ceiling fan
hang them
blade.
to dry, then go back and work out later.
That place had to smell.
I couldn't even
imagine. I can't even imagine, dude. It was
Steve met his wife while living in there.
I met my
and
wife.
So did Dan.
And she knew you were like this?
Yeah, and she's a germaphobe. And she still married me.
I don't get it.
And our bathtub,
True love, dude.
Our bathtub was so disgusting. It was like halfway up, it was black. Like the first bottom half
like
up.
a science experiment.
Yeah, it was just
Petri dish,
black and moldy, and you'd have to take a shower after you took a shower. When you went in
the
there.
best thing is on Steve's first date, he comes downstairs and we're all looking at him like, what? He's got like slacks and this like cardigan, like looks like he's going to apply for like some Mensa club in Massachusetts, like some Harvard math club, and he's got like his hair's fixed up. And he's like, what do you guys think? And we're just laughing. And they, Tiffany married him. That was it.
I fooled her. Boy, I tricked her.
Dude, she's had a rough morning on this show. She's not even here.
She's getting blasted.
When we come back, we'll get
bye-week shenanigans.
Yeah, absolutely. But 6 ranked versus ranked games this week. We'll get into those when we come back. You're listening to TexAgs Radio. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers.
He's gone to L.A. to interview Hugh Jackman, Brad Pitt, and Mark Wahlberg. Now he hangs out with Billy and O.B. It's David Nuno with TexAgs Radio on the Zone.
Shop local, buy local, save big deals.
It's not every day you can save money. Oh, wait, you can. Hi, Jenny here from Big Deals. When you shop Big Deals, you'll save money every day on dozens of gift certificates from local businesses like these.
J. Cody Steaks and Barbecue, Horseshoe Junction Family Fun Park, M&M Apparel, and Premium Rapid Lube. Visit AggielandBigDeals.com to save big. AggielandBigDeals.com.
Does your bank know your first name? At Normandy State Bank, they do. Normandy State Bank is locally owned, controlled, and operated. This local personal touch means banking decisions are made on site the same day you request it. Normandy State makes banking easy. They're open Saturdays, offer state-of-the-art online banking, bill paying, fund transfers, check and statement images. Normandy State, where customer service is their priority. Normandy State Bank, rock solid. Member FDIC.
We're here with Jackson Rollo from Rollo Insurance. And Jackson, you guys have been around for a long time. You're the very best at what you do. But I ask you, why Rollo Insurance?
Well, we've been growing recently with over 45 offices in multiple states. But we haven't lost who we are. We're still super focused on being hyper-local and involved in the communities in which you're going to find a Rollo Insurance office. And we offer products like home, auto, life, health, and business insurance from some of the top carriers in our industry.
You name it, they do it. Visit RolloInsurance.com.
What to do with no Aggie football this weekend? Big Shots Golf Aggieland to the rescue.
They're saving your weekend with big savings and big fun. Get $10 off your tee box now through Sunday only with promo code SAVE10. Tee it up with your crew this weekend at Big Shots and be ready for a great time. Get $10 off your tee box now through Sunday only at BigShotsGolf.com. Use promo code SAVE10. That's SAVE10.
Sunday, October 16th at the Brazos County Expo. Come see the action and hear the noise when the TTPA will face off in the ultimate showdown of pulling power. Pulling classes from 2,500 horsepower blown alcohol two-wheel drive trucks, including the Hot Farm smoker tractors, Pro Stocks at 1,500 horsepower blown alcohol pro modified tractors, and some of the baddest Super Street diesel 4x4 trucks in the country. Tickets $20. Kids 5 and under get in free. Get tickets at the gate or online at BrazosValleyFair.com. Brought to you by the Brazos Valley Fair and College Station Ford.
Do you love Aggie football? The Louis Bellina Show, presented by B&B Automotive and Superior Auto Service. Two remarkable businesses, one great family. We love Aggie football, too. Every Monday at 2, it's Aggie Football Media Day. Jimbo Fisher live, thanks to T-Mobile. And every Wednesday, we listen into the players. Also, thank you, T-Mobile, the official 5G provider of the SEC. Check in with the Louis Bellina Show weekdays, 11 to 2.
Baby, what do you say we just get lost?
It's pretty incredible that all the people that lived in that house have become successful human beings.
Seriously, that should not have happened.
20-second version of what we just told. I wouldn't go to the movies with Steve. I went to dinner with everyone else and said, I come home, my white Honda like Civic is covered in ketchup and mustard completely. So I don't say anything. We all go in, everybody's playing video games, and I go back, and then he's at the movies or something and row with somebody. So I cover his car with his black truck with mayonnaise.
Yeah.
And we're using it out of Dan's vats of mustard and mayonnaise. Yeah. So I don't even know, but I'm assuming that Dan was probably also pissed because we tapped into his stash.
Yeah. He had this jar of mayonnaise like you get at Sam's that he would transport from like his dorm. Then we moved into the apartment, and then we moved into a summer house, and he would just bring this
forget the mayonnaise.
Big jar of mayonnaise every time we moved till it like literally looked like mustard.
Was Lonnie with y'all when all this was happening?
No, Lonnie wasn't. Lonnie didn't. Let me tell you something about Lonnie. He didn't fit with this crew.
Oh yeah.
No, it was a decided drop in just.
You got less obnoxious.
What you were able to take, what you were willing to put up with.
It got better.
Toughness,
every year.
And then also they were on the plus side. They were much more civil.
Okay,
civil.
Well, let's pick some games.
Sophisticated.
Are y'all doing the regular pick 'em? I don't think so this week. I didn't get any.
Yeah, we are.
Okay, well I didn't.
Why didn't you have Caroline Fenton on? Were you too good for her?
Well, I had scheduled Michael early. I didn't know that I was supposed to have Caroline on. It wasn't communicated.
Interesting.
So, whatever.
I figure that
Caroline's
out.
great. I have nothing against her.
Apparently
but
so.
I scheduled Coach early at the same time, and I didn't know. And
I'm a big Aggie baseball guy, a big early guy, but you could have maybe dropped
so
that
y'all
extra
have
segment of
games?
OB.
No, me and Billy haven't. Seth picked. If you want to hear his picks, I can give them to you.
I don't know what the slate. Nothing's been sent to me.
Check your email. I just sent it to you.
Okay.
Check your email. I just sent it.
Here we go. Thank you, Steve. Big fun on this phone. Not quite as big.
I'm about half blind, you know.
All right, Penn State at Michigan. Both teams undefeated. 11 a.m. at Michigan Stadium on Fox. Michigan -7, favored by 7 points.
Wait, where's it at again?
It's in Ann Arbor.
It's a maze out.
Maze out. Michigan and Penn State.
I don't know that Michigan's any good, but I don't know that Penn State's any good either.
Dalton doesn't have it. He used to put it up there on the screen.
Dalton, where's our graphic?
I don't have my ears in. He's probably screaming something.
All right. What's the spread again?
7. Michigan -7.
7. Man. I'm going to go Michigan.
Timeout.
I'm going Michigan.
Nuno didn't do what he said he was going to do either.
Oh,
We're
did
not
he
going
get a
to do
solid
even
number?
numbers again. We don't want ties, but okay. 7.
Well, you can put. So you can push.
Yeah, but then we already
for
did
y'all
it.
standings. Yeah,
We'll
make it 6.5.
Okay, I'm going to go.
6.5.
I'm going to go Michigan. I think Penn State. I still think they're overrated.
If it's in Happy Valley, I'd pick Penn State,
Yeah.
but on the road in Ann Arbor, I don't think Penn State's very good.
And I think Michigan's defense is still really strong. I like Michigan. Steve?
Yeah, I got Michigan.
What does Seth have? Do you know?
If you scroll down, you can see.
We don't need to say it. He's got it turned in. Yeah.
Oh, he's real proud though that he's He's first.
He's not first. I'm first.
Steve passed.
Oh, did you pass him? Now, I took a subtle shot at him when I tweeted that picture of Hunter. I said, "Oh yeah, his uncle wasn't that bad either." With a walrus. You know what he responded with? Y'all's rankings in the pick'em predictions.
Wow. Yeah.
He's like, if a walrus means you're number one, it must be pretty good.
He's so proud of that early season number 1 ranking.
Number 8, Oklahoma State at number 13, TCU. Both of those teams undefeated as well. 2:30 p.m. at Amon G. Carter Stadium in Fort Worth. TCU -3.5. I don't think Oklahoma State. Everybody talks about how good their defense is. It's been trashed.
Yeah,
it's been really bad.
Yep. I picked.
I wouldn't touch this game, but the over. I'd say in the first out.
Yeah.
Give me the over, whatever it is.
So
how much is
TCU
State
by 3?
TCU's by 3.
TCU 3.5.
3.5.
I'm going to go with Oak State just because Gundy.
Think they win the game?
Yeah. Well, I'm taking. I don't know. I'm like with you. I wouldn't pick, but if you're going to give me those points, I think that's a field goal game. Just like it seems like every Big 12 game not involving Oklahoma is about to start being. I like Oak State because I like Sanders. I don't love him. I like him. I just think Gundy figures out a way to play that game every time. 34-31, 41-38. I feel like that's
so
what's
you like Oklahoma State.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, Luch. I think TCU was going to win it, but I'm just not sure they can win it by more than 3.
I like Oklahoma State money line. I think they win the game. I wouldn't bet it, but give me the over. And if I had to bet, I think Oklahoma.
I'm with you, though. I think you could find plenty of other money line ones you feel better about.
Yeah, I'll take Oklahoma State.
But that Big 12, I love the way everybody's making it into a thing now. That's the talking point. I read an article yesterday. I saw the headline. I don't read crap. I try to avoid reading crap. But it was like how the Big 12 is just winning and all they're doing. If you go look at their non-conference collective, it is the saddest thing I've ever seen. I got to hear people like my friend Hannah on there saying, the Big 12 is really good this year. No, they're really not, and we'll never understand that truth because when the bowl games roll around in today's college football, they're not even real games.
Your preseason conference champion just lost to West Virginia last night. And I know road West Virginia versus home West Virginia is different, but don't lose.
It's West Virginia.
Number 3, Alabama at number 6, Tennessee. This is a CBS primetime game at 2:30 at Neyland Stadium. Alabama -7.5. I think Vegas knows that Bryce Young must be playing. Because if Milroe's playing, that ain't the line.
I think
they had us -24 with him playing, so I don't know.
I think
they were more down on A&M.
I think Tennessee covers. I think Bama. I still, even with Bryce Young. I mean, if you said Bryce is playing, Milroe's playing, I'd go win lose. But Bama. I think Tennessee's got some players on defense. I don't think they're as good as A&M is on defense, but I think they're good enough with that offense. There's some things about Tennessee that still scare me. They barely beat Florida. They barely beat Pitt. That was overtime. Mm-hmm. They're not a juggernaut. Folks in Knoxville don't seem to understand that.
They're confident right now, though.
Yes, they're confident, and they're at home, and they've got a really good quarterback. Bama's got a great one. Tennessee's got a really damn good one.
Tennessee wins it. Hendon Hooker's, I think, their leader in the clubhouse.
For sure. But I don't think it's the clubhouse. I mean,
well,
clubhouse means it's
leader,
done. Yeah,
current leader, yeah.
He's your leader through 7 out of 13 games. Sure. And I would agree with that. But Tennessee's got a lot working for him. Mm-hmm. And look at Alabama, Bronny. Like, I try to tell these people this. Nobody just seems to want to pay attention. With Bryce Young, they lost to Zach Calzada and A&M. With Bryce Young, it took a miracle to beat a terrible Auburn team without Bo Nix. With Bryce Young, they barely beat Florida early in the year, down to the final minute. They survived Arkansas last year. They beat Georgia handily. They lost to Georgia. This year, they barely beat Texas. They barely beat A&M. That's 7 games, and I think I'm forgetting one. I think I'm forgetting LSU. They beat 16-10 when LSU was down and out, and they had the ball with Max Johnson for the win. So 8 times since the start of last year, they have been pushed to the limit. 7 of those times were with Bryce Young. I think they get pushed to the limit again. I take Tennessee to cover, Bama to win if Bryce plays.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying makes a lot of sense and very true. They've definitely shown a lot of chinks in the armor. the last couple of years. It's not the same Alabama as 3 or 4 years ago. But one thing I have, and we've all seen, is when Bama has a tight game or almost lose or do lose, they recover and bounce back pretty strong the next week. So for that reason, I think that they will rebound and
cover.
Okay.
They've won 15 in a row against Tennessee. I do think that streak continues. I could see it being a 31-21 game, and Bama covers that way. But you're dealing with one field goal late to try to. So it's tight. I like that.
Here's what I don't think Bama's secondary is that good, and I think is the biggest drop off. The receivers the biggest drop off because they were incredible, but I think that secondary has quietly fallen off in terms of. I mean, they used to a few short years ago. Every single one of those dudes were like first, second round picks, and it was just a matter of are you a freshman or are you a junior? So you could maybe catch a weakness if it was like say Denver Harris is a supremely talented football player, but he's a true freshman. Tyreek Chappelle last year, supremely talented football player, true freshman. But Bama would have like 7 or 8 of those guys playing in their secondary. It's not that way anymore.
Yeah.
LSU 4-2, 2-1 in the SEC at Florida 4-2, 1-2 in the SEC. 6:00 kick at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium in the Swamp. Florida -2.5. I'm surprised they're getting the points.
Me too. But I'm going with Florida. Neither one of them look good.
I don't think either are good teams either.
But I've watched something really stinks to me about that Auburn game with LSU, where I'm just sitting there going, man, I watched them throw for 5 yards in the second half. I watched that they just something really stinks about that, and the way they got the doors blown off of them at home by Tennessee. I'd take the home team in this one is what I would do.
Key stat, Florida not great against the run, and they're one of the worst defenses in the country on third down.
Yeah.
And Jaden Daniels' legs on third down, he's essentially been LSU's offense all year.
I think Richardson could do much of the same.
I agree. Yeah, and I'm going to take Florida at home as well.
I think if you're betting on Florida, you're betting that you're getting a good version of Anthony Richardson. He was good on the road in Knoxville against Tennessee. Yeah. He was outstanding in week 1 when everybody had him as a Heisman contender after they beat Utah. I would pick Florida. I'm pulling for Florida to win because I kind of want to see that thing crash and burn in Baton Rouge.
LSU's beaten them the last 2 times too. So I just wonder. I just wonder if like a really average, and by average I mean 500 over the last 2 years, LSU program can win 3 in a row against anybody.
Number 16, Mississippi State at number 22 Kentucky. Mississippi State 5-1, 2-1 in the SEC. Kentucky 4-2, 1-2 in the SEC. 6:30 p.m. there in Lexington, Mississippi State -6.5.
Who's the quarterback for Kentucky?
I think Will Levis is playing.
Is he playing?
Yes. If he's playing,
what a quarterback battle.
I think Kentucky covers with Will Levis.
Second best QB battle in the country this weekend behind Hooker and Young.
Yeah.
Levis and Rogers.
If Mississippi State blows the doors off them, Will Rogers is in the Heisman discussion.
Well, and here's the other thing: if Mississippi State wins and Tennessee loses, you talk about your little in the clubhouse routine. Mike Leach is your SEC Coach of the Year through 7 weeks.
Yeah, they're good, man.
They are.
They're a solid football
team. Shocking what happened to them down the stretch against LSU.
They're old though, Billy.
Oh yeah.
I'm shocking what that's why it's shocking that they
could be
gave up
undefeated,
31 straight points to LSU. That one's going to stand out and really haunt them.
What's the pick?
Mississippi State.
Yeah, I'm going Mississippi State also.
They cover.
I think they're going to cover.
Okay. I think I'd pick Kentucky with Will Levis to cover. Last game, USC 6-0, 4-0 in the Pac-12 at Utah. 4-2, 2-1 Pac-12, 7 p.m. at Rice-Eccles Stadium in Salt Lake City. Utah might get in the points favored by 3.5.
USC.
Utah's favored?
Utah.
USC.
That's what it says.
No, I'm saying I'm picking USC. Utah.
Utah money line.
Getting dumped. Them getting dumped by UCLA.
Utah at home.
Dumped. I know. I almost went to that game. I put some serious thought into but nobody had nobody could do it or could afford it or whatever nonsense people didn't want to do. I've got other friends that are in Vegas. I'm like, how many times do you have to go to Vegas and get your ass kicked in at the table and lose all your money and come home and cry about it for a month? Don't party in Vegas. Just go eat dinner, gamble, and go take your ass to bed and cry about it versus going on a nice trip and do like a Park City couple nights, and then Saturday do USC Utah because that's going to be a badass environment. But this ain't last year's Utah team that ran roughshod over Oregon at night at Rice-Eccles.
You don't think so?
No, I don't. I think USC wins this thing. Utah's already lost to Florida and UCLA, and that ain't with Cade McNown and Tim Tebow. That's with Anthony Richardson and whatever our boy's name is at
I like Utah.
Michigan.
I think they'll win. So that if they'll cover -3.5. I think they win by 6 to 10 points.
Okay, 6 to 10. So that's your money line of the week.
I don't think USC. They were awful in
They're
Corvallis.
not that good. They're not that good either.
And I think this is a way better atmosphere. That stadium in Corvallis is half empty because they're doing construction on it. They should have lost to Oregon State.
They should have.
I think they go on the road, and I think the
I
crowd.
hope you're right.
Utah is like West Virginia.
I know.
West
They're
Virginia
a different
on the road.
team.
They're a different team.
Trust
on the
me.
road at home.
Have you been there?
I've never been to Rice-Eccles.
Okay.
No.
Let me ask you watch Alex Smith run around out there?
Well, was it Reggie scoring like the second play, and then A&M didn't score the rest of the night? Something like
I
that.
don't know if Reggie scored earlier.
It's
If
like a
that was
long
I thought
run.
that was mop up time.
That was a beat. I remember that. I watched that on TV.
They had Alex Smith, Morgan Scalley,
Yeah.
and what's the guy that played for like 15
And wasn't
years?
Urban Myers the coach?
Who's
the
the safety?
Weddle?
Weddle. Eric Weddle.
All right, I'm going Utah as well because I think you're right. I think that home field environment is legit. I think USC's good, but I think that this is a game they're going to trip up.
It's a lot
on.
to ask.
You guys
for
are
first
making
year.
me think differently, but I have not been impressed with Utah this year.
I haven't
so far.
either, but I've seen them just dominated.
I'll say this:
some of these type of games.
that and probably Autzen Stadium are probably the two biggest home field advantages in that conference.
Okay, when we come back to close the show,
And
I
damn
got
sure
two more
ain't
games.
Boulder.
I got one line that I cannot understand what Vegas is thinking. We'll talk about that and close the show when we come back. You're listening to TexAgs Radio,
Oklahoma and
presented by
Kansas.
David Gardner's Jewelers.
I'm Chelsea Reber with your community calendar on the Zone. The Blinn Bryan Theater Troupe opens its season with the Baltimore Waltz. Performances run October 13th through the 16th. Tickets are online at blinn.edu/box office. The Brazos Civic Orchestra presents a free concert on Sunday, October 16th at 5 p.m. at Rutter High School Auditorium. BCS Habitat for Humanity is hosting its 6th annual Candidates Build, bringing together candidates for local, state, and federal office to work on a habitat home. If you're running for office, come out on Friday, October 21st. Contact Habitat BCS for more information. Applications are now open for this year's Salvation Army Angel Tree Christmas Assistance Program, which is open to families with children 12 and under. Apply online at saangeltree.org. You can listen to Jimbo Fisher live from Aggie Football Media Day every Monday at 2 p.m. thanks to T-Mobile, the official 5G provider of the SEC. That's your community calendar. I'm Chelsea Reber on the Zone.
In today's tough economic climate, Bryan is in a strong financial position. As your current councilman for Single-Member District 3, I have pursued responsible economic development for the city of Bryan. As mayor, I will help Bryan continue moving forward with the knowledge gained from my many years of service and experience. This is Bobby Gutierrez asking for your vote for Bryan Mayor starting October 24th or on Election Day, November 8th. Visit bobbyforbryan.com and keep Bryan moving forward.
Political ad paid for by the Bobby Gutierrez campaign. Jason Bianski, treasurer.
Grab your first cup of coffee weekday mornings with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max, powered by